Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.
Flight Sports TV, that's where it's at.
Flight Sports TV.
What's going on, people? It's Flight Sports TV. I appreciate y'all for checking with me. Y'all already know what it is. We back. Man, oh man, we got a lot to discuss tonight involving these Chicago Bulls. The Bulls did face off against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bulls got pummeled, as expected. Things is going crazy in Chicago. They 1 minute they in the play-in picture, the next minute they looking like they slipping out. This was a bad loss tonight. Giannis Antetokounmpo, we got to get into some news tonight involving that game. This is crazy. I want to give some stat lines tonight involving pretty much all games, but obviously we're going to zero in on Chicago tonight. This was another crazy performance. Minus Mr. DeMar DeRozan, we did have my man Zach LaVine out there doing his thing. He definitely received a lot of help from Vucevic. Vucevic came out tonight and put up some numbers you would have thought, could have secured the bag for them. Giannis Antetokounmpo, we all know we're going to get into it. It was definitely some breaking news tonight, involving him. There's a lot of ramifications. The All-Star situation could really open up, for the people that's telling you. This is crazy. LaMelo Ball, we'll get into that another time, but nonetheless, this is a crazy situation. The Bulls are slipping and they falling and they can't get up. Lonzo Ball obviously still out, for Lord knows when he's going to return. Preferably it would be nice, but I think after the All-Star break, I know after the All-Star break, I'm pretty sure we're going to get something on Lonzo. It's either going to be something we want to hear or something we don't want to hear. But bottom line is book it. After the All-Star break, watch we hear something on Lonzo, because the timeline is so crazy. They stated to us that pretty much Billy Donovan and company, and it's kind of funny because tonight I definitely want to pose that question with Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan definitely could do himself a better job out there, man. The Bulls shouldn't be right here. The Bulls should be in the mix. A lot of guys making major paper, But nonetheless, look at the guard play that they received tonight. I'm going to zero in on some of the other players as well, but I want to touch on the guard play. You had Ayo Dosunmu, 7 points. You have White, with 8 points, 1 assist, 3 assists. Something's going on. Obviously, the ball is sticking, is very stagnant, in my humble opinion. In terms of the ball movement, the fluidity, I'm just not liking the way things are moving for Chicago. And it shows, it shows how they cannot finish and close games. They find themselves always in a situation where they down and out and can't get up, but it is what it is at the end of the day. They got really stepped on tonight by the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee came out tonight with their game face. You got Brook Lopez out there like he was something else. Brook Lopez tonight put up a 33-piece. Also, you had Carter with 22. They got a lot of help tonight. This team's got a collection of assets, which makes them very formidable and very dangerous. And the Bulls found out firsthand, these two teams, if you've been living under a rock, faced off, in the playoffs, last year when the Bulls, made it. Unfortunately, Well, fortunately for the Bulls, if it was any more time, they would have been in the playing scenario like you're seeing now. Chicago started the season off exactly the way they was finishing last season, and the Bulls are continue to be in this situation where they're stumbling over each other. Things are just not right. And out there in the Windy City, but it's some pathways to get better. And I think when you look at Billy Donovan. I don't care that it was an extension. People heard that. The news came out recently, that it was an extension made involving Mr. Billy Donovan, but I listen, I'll tell you what, I think that was just all smoke and mirrors. For the most part, why in the world was the contract extension so quiet? It didn't, at no point were they going to reveal that it was a contract extension until rumblings started coming from, Chicago, like what's going on? What's going on with the team? What's up with Billy Donovan? We could definitely use somebody else, and you've seen that, now it's up to, Chicago to figure out what they're going to do. Is it all Billy Donovan's fault? To his credit, I'm not going to, just dump it all on Billy. But at the end of the day, he has been done a disservice with the roster, but to almost his discredit, you still got a collection of pieces and assets there at your disposal that should make you much more formidable than you are. You're really not playing or coming correctly out there on the basketball floor. And Billy, I don't know if it's not Billy, out. I would like for him to bolster, the coaching staff, maybe get a nice high level guy in there. I'm not sure who might be out there on the mix, but it's somebody that he could have next to him on the bench, whether it's, a high profile coach. You never know. There's a lot of coaches that won jobs, and they sit on the bench for a year and then they come back. Who knows? Could a situation like that happen for Chicago? I think so. But the Bulls are in a messed up situation. It's no telling. Even though the Windy City Bulls fans, are advocating for them to continue to make a push, if this team is not fully healthy, who's to say they're going to win in any play-in scenario, let alone playoffs? So it's no guarantee that if they get to the play-in, they're going to secure the bag, because they haven't shown us that yet. They're one of the most inconsistent teams in the NBA, this season. And it's unfortunate. You don't know what the hell you're going to get from Chicago. You don't know if you're going to get a masterpiece or a complete travesty like we've seen on countless nights. Something must give. Change must come. And I got $1 million questions, and I need some $1 million answers. It's Flight Sports TV. Salute to everybody in the chat. We got all access in the building. Dex, talk to the people. We live.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Flight Sports TV, the machine, the voice of the voiceless, the people's champ, the hottest in the streets. Shout out to the panel as it reached its premium peak. And shout out to everyone that pulled up rocking with Flight Sports TV.
Yeah, man. This is a crazy situation involving Chicago. The Bulls, took a tough loss, tonight. Something's going on in Chicago. I believe a lot of people are on the chopping block. I'm not sure. Did you check out the game tonight, Dex? Or were you?
I watched some because how the Chicago Bulls would deal with off of a 5-game losing streak, and then Giannis got injured. He go out early. He only played 9 minutes. And then, lo and behold, Brook Lopez put up an almost doozy.
Brook went out there turned back the clock.
What happened to Vooch? I mean, Vooch can't guard Brook Lopez. I mean, this team is just caving in on itself. That's a 6-game skid, and they just lost a game where they was up 24 points to the Indiana Pacers. I mean, that was a ruckus within itself. It came down to Zach LaVine getting the last shot, and once again, Zach LaVine couldn't cash in as the shooter. So that's unfortunate for Zach, and that's a stain on his resume that he's not able to close, Flight. I mean, he missed crucial free throws in the Indiana game. DeMar DeRozan is nowhere to be found. So Zach have to shoulder the responsibility and stomach the accountability for getting this team out of the rut that they're currently in. And the thing of it is, can he do it? The Bulls show that they have 200, let's say, the Bulls have showed they have north of 200 million that they're confident that Zach can close the deal when it's time. So we'll see if the Bulls can recalibrate without the likes of DeMar DeRozan, Alex Caruso, Derrick Jones Jr., and company, and get it together. Because 6 games losing streak going into All-Star break is not, it's worse than bad. It's horrific.
Yeah.
For this caliber team. And also, which is a dreadful statistic, is that out of the top 10 teams that have lost a significant lead or the largest lead in the league this season, the Bulls rank, they have 2 slots in the top 10. And that's not good.
Man, the Bulls, man, are done. You know, my humble opinion.
And I'm talking about teams like Detroit, teams like Houston, but all the bottom feeder teams that have leads, but they haven't lost a lead as large as the Bulls within the 10. So that's not a good sign. And there's some people are claiming that Chicago Bulls is playing pretty good defense. I don't know if you're playing pretty good defense if you're giving up more points or you allowing more points than you are putting on the home. That's not good. Your numbers up under 5. So you can
you kind of breaking up slightly. The Bulls are in trouble. I mean, Houston, we got a problem. They're going this ain't on a losing streak. This is a bad way to close the All-Star break, giving fans and the city of Chicago really a lackluster expectance. After the All-Star break. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, they're giving you nothing. This is hurtful. This is messed up. And like I said, people gonna have to lose their jobs behind this. I believe consequences must come for this. But like you stated, this caliber of a team, we must point that out. We get on teams like LeBron, we get on people like LeBron. We hold these players accountable. This team, got a bunch of guys together, making serious money. I understand they had injuries, but they shouldn't be this bad. And I think we all agree with that. How's your connection, Dex?
Yeah, and like I said,
okay, you're good now.
Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of confabulation going on in the Bulls circle that spread narratives and the content because they're just not being honest with the people unless they're suffering from cognitive dissonance. And I don't believe that is the case so much because some of these Bulls narrators have played basketball and some of them even play professional basketball. So they know what's going on and they know what's going on in that locker room, but they're just too chicken shit to really talk about the real deal. And the real deal has little to do with actual on the court. And I just think, like I said, there's a war going on, a civil war going on within the Bulls organization and locker room. You have the Vooch situation, you have the Zach and DeMar dynamic, and and you have the Ayo DeSumo and Patrick Williams dilemma. So you have all these different wheels that's operating within the main wheel of the Bulls organization. And I just think there's a lot of bumping, like bumper cars, and nobody's really want to really discuss it to the fact where it's hurting and hindering the Bulls' performance on the court. Like,
Man, that's just crazy, Dax. This don't make no sense. You know, it's Sour D Live says it's Zach versus Billy. The locker room is fractured. What do you think about those statements? Do you think this
I just
locker
said
room
that.
is?
I just said that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, all right. I didn't think you pointed that
Yeah,
out.
so I agree. Yeah, I just said that there's a dilemma with Patrick Williams and Ayo DeSumo, growth and development, to be nourished into a solid basketball player. There is the perplexity between DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine of who is king of the hill. And there's another issue with Vooch and his contract talks that, Vooch wants some stability. Vooch wants some security. And right now, Vooch is out on the limb. So all these three vectors within that organization is causing somewhat of a civil war.
That Vucevic contract is real pivotal, like you stated before. Is there any guarantee that he's going to be back next season? And if not, where do they go at that
They damn
position?
sure no guarantees. Not for Vooch.
Definitely.
Vooch ain't putting monster numbers up on the board.
It's formidable. As much as people ridicule, I know like I said, at times he's a liability, but some nights he give you a punch, So I understand he's coming from a losing situation, out there in Orlando. I think he could be best suited in maybe a much more winning environment. Let's see what happens, who he attracts, this off season. People might put that money up for Vooch. Yeah, you there? Can you hear me?
Mic check.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. If you can hear my mic check.
Yeah, you good.
Okay. Yeah, like I was saying, like break, no Middleton, no Giannis started the game, but he only played 9 minutes. And then you turn around and look up at the scoreboard, and the Bulls are being blown out by 20, and it's not even fourth quarter. You got, how can I say this? I'm trying to be nice. Like, you got Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez, out of all people, he's not going to dominate in the paint. Brook don't want you pushing and shoving on him, and neither does Vooch, by the way. But nevertheless, Brook Lopez had 30 points before the fourth quarter started. That is an absolute no-no. That is an absolute no-no. Now, I know Brook Lopez is a product of the Pac-12, and I appreciate him for doing what he did up there in Northern California, but no way Vooch should have a freaking 30-point piece on the Chicago Bulls, and the fourth quarter hadn't started. He got 12 minutes of basketball remaining, and this dude is north of 30. No way. That's an absolute no-no flight. And these are the telltale signs of the lack of heart that the Bulls just continuously to show. And one thing about the Chicago Bulls that I must admit, that they are very consistent, like I'm talking about extremely consistent in being inconsistent. And that is a formula for disaster. And this is why we're witnessing up close and personal as C Red and all of his lore is caving in on itself. Now they're going to start eating their own. And this is where AK and it messed up. This is where they messed up. They was on a roll when they put the team together. But then because you put the team together, Acme, doesn't mean the job is done. Now you got it together. Now you're talking about cohesiveness in so many words. You're talking about continuity. Wow, I don't know how that flew out of his ass. Continuity? Psh, you didn't have continuity since the seventh game of the season of last year. You was winning because you had a fairly easy schedule. If you go back and look at the power rankings, the Bulls in that first half of that season, where they was, tearing teams to pieces, they had a very favorable schedule. It was them, the Suns, Milwaukee, and Golden State, and the Lakers had the most favorable schedule in the league going into the All-Star break. So we have to use the knife and cut it where it needs to be cut. And wherever the data leads us, Flight, that's the facts that we have to talk about. We can't do no confabulation. Wherever the data lead us when it comes to the Chicago Bulls, as they are currently constructed, we have to lay the data on the table and let the people eat. Like,
Yeah, man, I agree with all your sentiments, Dex. This is a terrible situation that's going on. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We discussing Chicago, the direction, obviously the present. They're just coming off of a loss. Also, for the people that's joining us right now, if you don't know, we have breaking news. Giannis Antetokounmpo, was hurt tonight, involving a wrist situation. Hopefully it's not as serious as it looks. He did not return. He finished with 2 points tonight. So that's the news. This is unfortunate. I wonder how this affects his all-star situation. We are headed into all-star weekend. Who knows who could be available to take his spot. We already know there's a lot of guys who have bottomed out very late. We've heard Joel Embiid, doctors have informed him not to participate. Now Giannis, things are looming. We find out within 24 to 48 hours what the hell is going on. But nonetheless, we're going to keep y'all posted. Make sure y'all tune in as well, this weekend, because we're going to be doing a whole lot of everything involving All-Star Weekend. Is All-Star Weekend as good as it once was? Who knows? We'll discuss that also tonight. But we will have you covered, so make sure y'all tuned in to Flight Sports. My man, Recap Rico, man. Shout out to you. Shout out Thunder and all y'all in the chat. This is terrible. Completely terrible tonight. The Bulls have really no direction. Look what happened with Sacramento with Mike Brown. Chicago needs to hire a real coach, to really get things situated. And like I stated before, he don't know how to coach this bunch of characters, and if you bring Russell Westbrook in there, because I heard that floated around, even though I think the Clippers are in the lead, but who knows what could happen, I think that they're just gonna run roughshod over him. Billy Donovan is not an alpha. And this kind of job in Chicago, you got to be an alpha male for this team. They can't have no punk. That's sitting in the seat. They need a real general. What do you think about that, Dex? About Billy Donovan not really being able to lead this cast of characters?
well, Billy Donovan is like a whole lot of coaches that's in the league.
Right.
They depend on the talent to be the talent, and the talent to be able to navigate through the murky waters of close-knit games, high-tension arenas, and a layer of functionality. And where Phil Jackson was very successful of being mostly a hands-off coach, right? But Phil Jackson was very hands-on when it came to practice, when it came to preparation and things of that nature. Albeit Phil had a unusual way of doing it, some say awkward, but it was very successful. It basically leveled out the playing field from the top tier of the team to the bottom five, where there was a a level of equilibrium for every player that wore the uniform that Phil Jackson of a team that Phil Jackson coached. And I don't think Billy have that kind of luster. Um, Billy got guys that think they already know what they're doing. And unfortunately, they don't know how to win, and neither does Billy. So when you have a player like Russell Westbrook coming in there, and the team is already fragmented and fragile, the team is already fragmented and fragile. Russell Westbrook, as being a ball dominant guard, is basically a fungible to DeMar DeRozan. Because DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook, when it comes to that aspect of being in the gym and being in a stadium or arena, they are very fungible. They're very alike by needing the ball in their hand to be more productive and mostly productive. Without the ball in these two gentlemen' hand, DeMar could probably do more without the ball than Westbrook, but DeMar is comfortable with the ball in his hand, just like Linus is comfortable with the blanket on his back. So that would be a recipe to me of disaster. And Russell Westbrook is, we know he has dog in him, but his dog sometimes is out of control. And when you have a ravenous dog that's out of control, it's always an onus on the owner of that dog to tread lightly or even be filled with trepidation due to the fact that dog can just launch an attack at any given time. I'm a dog owner, so I know, and I own a Rottweiler, pure German Rottweiler. And I know that this is an animal, it's a beast, and at any given time, he can have that type of DNA in him. So if he becomes dismayed, upset, or even frustrated, can Billy Donovan reel him in? Do Billy Donovan have the balls and the strength and the wherewithal to reel Russell Westbrook in when it comes time? Because like I said, this is not a team filled with hardly competitive veterans. This is a team that have veterans who just want to put numbers on the board. And I'm speaking about Vooch, I'm speaking about DeMar, and I'm definitely speaking about Zach. And if Westbrook comes in this circle, how would the chemistry be? Can this be thoroughly augmented into something of a wondrous, something that's eye candy to see red? Do see red deserve a Russell Westbrook at this stage in his career? Do Russell Westbrook want to be in a situation where there's no avenue or no pathway to a championship? At least clearly. When you look at the Chicago Bulls flight, there is a heavy nebulous. I'm talking.
You there? Shout out Dax. Dax might be having a slight technical difficulties. Yo, you back now?
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Yeah, you kind of broke up.
Did you hear what I said about?
You broke up in the end.
Okay. Well, let me repeat that. Yeah, let me repeat it. Basically, what I closed on is that by the Bulls being fragile and fragmented, bringing in Russell Westbrook without a sure or confident pathway to a championship would be disastrous, because there's a heavy nebulous when it comes to the Chicago Bulls and their outlook and their direction to even get into a conference final, yet alone to represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. So yeah, that nebulous is really heavy, it's dense, and I'm not sure if Russell Westbrook want to take that tour of duty with the Chicago Bulls while their situation is pretty murky. Like,
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you just said. The Russell Westbrook dynamic, you're right. And you don't really know what you're going to get from that. But, the reason why his name is attractive, it's such a high risk. It is, it's a good reward. It could be a reward here. You never know, what could happen. Russell Westbrook could be, an explosion for you, or this thing could be a complete utter disaster. Seriously, in my humble opinion, every stop that Westbrook has been in, since the MVP season has just really been hurtful. It started with Paul George and Carmelo and company coming there, and it's been downhill ever since. The Houston thing was dirty, everything has been bad for him, all his destinations, he hasn't been fit. He's often the problem. At some point, Russell Westbrook has to rewrite his career. I don't think it's going to happen in Chicago, and definitely not under Billy Donovan. All they're going to do is run roughshod over him, and just take over the house, and, you don't need that. You need a strong guy who could step to Zach, who could step to DeMar DeRozan. That's not an easy task to do, and, a lot of change needs to happen there, and with the Bulls. The medical staff, the coaching staff, everything, new personnel, maybe even the front office, something's got to give. Because this is a lot of paper. And like I said, 11th, and this team could continue to slip. And that's the troubling situation, troubling. Dex, are the Bulls going to make the play-in, or do you think they're going to be out?
well, right now I cannot determine that. I have to see them after the All-Star break, maybe the first 5 games, to kind of make some kind of determination based on the variables that we need to see from the Bulls. And if the observation says, yes, they can make the play-in game, then of course I will go with it. Like I said earlier, we have to go where the data leads us, and we can't make up anything. We cannot confabulate. We cannot. Oh my God, like we can't add to it or take away from it. We just got to call it for what it is. We already know what the Bulls are capable of when they are fully healthy. We've seen that demonstration, and that demonstration was pleasant to the eyes, especially for C-Red. The Bulls was the talk of the town. They was the chatter everywhere. I don't care what crack or crevice you crawled out of. Soon as you reared your head, you're going to hear something about C-Red. It was just plainly obvious people was falling in love all over again with the Chicago Bulls because they felt like that they was reuniting with a legacy of championship rigor. Haphazardly, things didn't go the Bulls' way, and I'm telling you, Flight, I knew the leadership was fragile when they petitioned the NBA. I will not get off of this. I know people don't want to hear it. When they petitioned the NBA last season during the pandemic, when the Bulls, to some degree, was ravished by COVID, and the team was down their 2 stars, but they had Vooch, they had Lonzo, and they had some other ancillary pieces that was sufficient enough to carry on to play the Detroit Pistons out of all people. And we know Detroit Pistons was tanking for Chet Holmgren. And the Bulls administration copped out. They went yellow belly. And that showed me right there that the leadership of the Chicago Bulls was basically hanging on the hinge of DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine only. And that is never a good sign. You, like Herm Edwards say, you play who's in front of you, and you play to win the game. You don't cop cheese at no given time. This is a Chicago Bulls flight. You don't cop cheese, man. Listen, wear that scarlet and black proudly, and go in there and destroy Detroit. Now, when it came to the Toronto Raptors, I understand six guys have a whole different set of rules when it came to the COVID situation, because that's a whole country. So I understand and I overstand that situation of the games being canceled, that game being canceled, and it was listed as a makeup game. But the Detroit Pistons, that's in America, and you had enough to get out on the court, and you didn't want to put them out on the court. Highly compelling, and it showed the type of leadership, the hierarchy of Chicago Bulls is. And we know Dunn rolled downhill. And I'm being nice, like Dunn rolls downhill. So that's why I started to like pull up a little bit, like, whoa, they got a healthy Lonzo, right? Because remember, Lonzo didn't catch it. Vooch had it earlier, but Vooch had came back. I think Alex Caruso was available at the time. And they had their pieces. They had enough men to stand on the front line to defend the fortress. And they copped cheese. I thought that was very disrespectful to the players that was available. And it utterly showed that there's an issue with the hierarchy in the Bulls. I know that was infinitesimally small thing, because they did come back and win that game, that makeup game. But when you in the moment and you geared up to play, and you find out that your guys called in for a peace treaty and to negotiate for future combat, nah. I just think that they went wrong there. And now we see more dominoes fall with the leadership, how they didn't do really much in the offseason, how they didn't do much on the trade deadline, and now they talking about or even discussing bringing in Russell Westbrook. I mean, my crying out loud, where do you stop, Acme? Where do you stop? Because you was once hurled as a front runner of Executives of the Year for putting that team together. They did a tremendous job putting that team together. We can't take nothing from Acme for that. But since then, they have fell back and fell off precipitously. Like,
off a whole lot of trauma this evening. There's a lot going on. We got my man Toxic T in the building. Toxic, what's the deal? It's Flight Sports. I know you tripping tonight. Your boy Giannis, talk to me, man. Talk to me. I know you got trauma.
It's not no trauma. Budenholzer just confirmed that it's not a fracture. It's a sprain. So all my trauma, like energy wise, flight, it kind of went down in that moment. I thought it was going to be that, but the whole rumors of people talking about he broke his hand.
I never saw
break
that.
his hand. No, he didn't break his hand. Budenholzer confirmed that they did have an X-ray. They did take his X-ray while he was out in the locker room, and they said that it's clean. There's no fracture. So he should be back probably after All-Star break. And I think it's about time. I'd rather him fight in this situation. I'd rather him take rest instead of going all out during the All-Star break. So it was, to say the least, fight. It was, you kind of hold your breath, kind of hold your air a little bit. but it's official. He's fine. It is a sprain, so it all comes down to how well he can play through it if he wants to play tomorrow. But I don't expect him to, considering who we got next. I don't consider him to play tomorrow. Um, Brook Lopez, what a great night tonight. Um, Great night. I mean, he literally became our best offensive player tonight. He did his job. You know, I appreciate Brook Lopez for that. So shout outs to Brook Lopez. Um, we got to win. We're 12 game winning streak, but we're just not much to say. But we're happy it's not like a season-ending injury, and injuries come to the game. What can you do? You know,
Yeah, man.
all
I know
all I ask
exactly what you're
Spike
saying,
is
man.
that
It's
if
hurtful.
he's if he's out if he's out a couple games, we're just gonna be competitive. That's all he can do.
Y'all gonna be
Um,
straight. Y'all beat the Bulls.
I mean, we beat them, yeah. We are going on this like our offense is kind of clicking. So I think that if Giannis misses a couple games, I think that I can trust Brook to be play defense, and if not, you still got Chris and Drew and Javon Carter who has stepped up in offensive times when Giannis has been out of the game. So I expect that at least. But everything else has been pretty good. Got it up tonight. I thought he was how he landed it. Like it's just for some reason, every time Giannis just lands with an injury, it makes it seem like it's worse than what it is. But I thought he broke his hand. Like it looked like he couldn't move it. But his kid's tough. His kid is tough. So hindsight, I'm upset he can't play. But in the great scheme of things, I'm happy he's taking this time to rest. That's a lot. 36 points constantly. Eventually, your body's going to break down on you. These players are still humans. So
Yeah, man. This wild. This don't make no sense. I don't know what's going on, but I know your squad gonna be straight because you don't got so many issues. What's going on? Budenholzer, believe it or not, at one time, it's so crazy that this is going on. We talking about Billy and all of that. At one time, Budenholzer was in question. That wasn't too long ago. You remember that?
Budenholzer was quite. I say he was
He
somewhat.
shattered that.
He somewhat was questioned a little bit. But Budenholzer was questioned probably like 2 years ago. This was when Jason Kidd, right, was still.
It was before the championship. After he secured the championship,
Yeah,
that was it.
I think once he beat the Suns, that was it. Before that, it was trying to say, well, Giannis is a good guy, but how can this team, when you look at their offense, people call it one-dimensional and kind of basic. How can this team win a championship? And they kind of did the old school way, which is playing smash mouth defense, giving 100% effort, and allowing your superstar to cook and have your wide open shots. So, Budenholzer's a great head coach, in my opinion. And I think that if everything goes right this year, he should go for coach of the year, in my opinion. Look at his record. So, I think he's a coach of the year candidate. And the difference between Billy Donovan and Mike Budenholzer is the ability to adjust and also to he just has better lineups that succeed more. I don't think that Billy Donovan's lineups are good, and I don't think he can adjust to the stars that he has over there. I don't see him.
Yeah, man, I don't see it either. Toxic. The
All
Bulls.
right.
Forgive me if I don't got low energy tonight. This Giannis thing kind of
you sure?
kind of blew me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, with Giannis?
No, I mean just how the whole play was going on. I ain't gonna lie to you, Flight Index. I wanted him to sit out during this Bulls game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need him.
All-Star break, it's the Bulls. So I don't even want to think that you would want to. It's kind of like I understand he
It's
got to
next door
play.
neighbors. This is next door neighbors, ain't they?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know,
they
yeah.
are the next door neighbors.
Yep,
And
they're walking up the
also,
street.
I want to say this: shout outs to Jay Crowder. It was his mom's birthday. She has since is no longer with us. He made a very powerful statement and on Twitter, and we just wanted me being a Bucks fan saying, supporting my new player. I want to say shout outs to his mom. May she have a heavenly birthday, and shout out to Jay Crowder. And we can't wait to see you in after the All Star break. Had to put that out there today.
Yeah, man, you
Right.
definitely got to put that out there. It's crazy.
And Flight.
What's up?
Yeah, like we were saying on that Russell Westbrook thing, I just think that the bifurcation of DeMar Rosen and Zach LaVine has already shown its non-auspicious ways, and it would be interesting how they will pursue Russell Westbrook and the way they will integrate him, because we know Russell Westbrook is the curmudgeon. I mean, people have to understand that, and until you understand the type of individual Russell Westbrook is, you will never get the most out of Russell. And I think a lot of that has bypassed him based on the Father of Time. And we all know the Father of Time is undefeated. So this curmudgeon coming into the scarlet and black and trying to coalesce an already non-auspicious bifurcation with DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. And then if you throw in Lonzo, because Lonzo's not going anywhere, now it's a trifurcation. And where do Russell Westbrook fit? Where do he play? Do he takes the role of Dragic? And we know Dragic's not getting any ticks. He barely, if any.
I mean, Dex, I just don't understand the thought process. I mean, I understand, but I don't know if you guys want to admit it or not, but I can see the writing on the wall just in terms with this team, right? I've never seen a head coach, right, Dex, want to put his 6'8" point guard on a big. I've never seen that.
Listen, I don't say he put him on there. I just think when you switch, Lonzo was not afraid to switch. Where other players, they wouldn't switch. You have to get back to your man. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not fast enough, then that's on you. You broke the defensive assignment.
I get
because the opposite team, with that big man that you might be referring to, designed their plays so that can happen.
I get it.
Because that's where you get the mismatch.
But Dex, as a coach, if you see that, it's okay to A, call the timeout, and B, adjust that from happening.
Well, you do that, but Toxic, you only do that if they go on a run and they keep repeating that type of offensive set and it's killing you. But if they do it all the time, but that don't mean they're gonna make the shot or the player's gonna make the right play. Just like the Chicago Bulls have low IQ players on their team, so does the opposition.
And this is why Budenholzer is better than Donovan. I've seen games where Budenholzer.
Nobody's contesting you on that one.
I've seen games, and I've seen games where you know how small Javon. Not even Grayson Allen, because him and Lonzo Ball is only like an inch. Lonzo Ball is probably an inch above Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen is 6'8", right?
Lonzo Ball can't be an inch over Grayson Allen if Grayson Allen is 6'8". I don't think Grayson Allen is that tall.
might be a little tall. He is 6'8" though. Grayson Allen, he is 6'8". So he might be just a little. He's a little bit ahead of Lonzo. I think Lonzo's 6'7". Either then 6'6". Even then, they still around the same height when you consider them of the position that they play, right? If Grayson Allen, right, is on, I don't know, God forbid it's Anthony Davis or something, right? Budenholzer is going to call the timeout.
It depends on the situation. Times out are based on situations.
No, I've seen him in situations this year where he's seen other teams flip and get their bigs, or when there's a big defensive mismatch, he'll throw in the timeout and he'll stop.
And then what do you do?
To cut the motivation, and then he'll pivot and he'll switch.
Switch what? I mean, what do you do? What would he do once he called a timeout?
He's going to
come out of the timeout. What happens?
He calls a timeout. He's going to tell Grayson Allen to go back to who he's supposed to play. Sometimes you put the timeout out there, or throw the timeout so you can calm everybody down. So you throw in the timeout and tell Grayson Allen to guard the two. Then telling Brook Lopez at that point to push up on Anthony Davis if you're in that situation. Now guess what happens? The play starts over again, and Anthony Davis has a way harder time going into the paint. Anthony Davis might have to work more on a Brook Lopez than he'll have to work on compared to a Grayson Allen. And that's kind of
what happens when they run that play over and over, and they have to keep switching over and over. Either you sub Grayson Allen out, or you tell him don't switch.
Timeout, then you sub.
Okay, and then they will counter and sub.
Right. That's fine.
For a smaller team. And
that's
now
fine.
You got a big man out there chasing some little roll runner.
That's fine.
So that's a mismatch all over again. So you can't keep calling timeout. Sometimes you have to play through it and execute.
Well, I'm not going to get into I see what you're trying to do with the semantics here, but still, it's about the adjustment.
I'm not trying to do anything.
No, it's
that's
fine.
What the key is, adjustment.
Adjustment here.
You adjust on the court too, though. Not just call timeout every time you get burnt.
Hey, it is what it is. I'm not going to get into it. If Billy Donovan would call more and have better fucking lineups, he wouldn't.
You only got so many timeouts, though, throughout the course of a game. You only got 5.
That's not what I'm saying here. I'm saying is, regardless if you have to use the timeout or switch, it's your job as the coach to have the ability to adapt and adjust to any mismatch on the court. And Billy Donovan fails at that aspect of coaching.
And then it's also based on personnel. Now, if you call a timeout, you still don't have the personnel to sub in. That's just a wasted timeout. So you gotta.
Well, guess what?
Play through
it's either. Well, guess what? It's either he don't have the personnel, and that goes back to the front office issue, or he's not a good enough coach, and that goes back to him. But you have to find out that answer.
It could be both. It could be a combination of both.
Well, then if you see, this is why certain NBA teams will always stay where they are, because you always get asked the same question. It's either the front office or the coaching. You know the front office are not going to admit their faults, right? So you got to go bring it back on the coaching, right?
Right.
And I say this. Why sign Billy Donovan the next 3 years, right? If you knew that he wasn't a good enough coach. Why not go after somebody else? I don't understand.
I'm with you. This shit don't make no sense.
At this point, as much as people are going to have to learn how to take risk in this league fight, because the same teams will dominate, and then it's going to get stale and boring because the same teams are dominating. But if you look at the teams that are winning and are successful, it's because those teams are able to make risk. And sometimes you have to take the risk. You might have signed Billy Donovan, but you're going to have to let him go. He's not that guy. He's not the coach. He's not.
I agree.
Yeah, we got my man Ted in the building. What's the deal?
What's good, man? What's good, everybody? I agree with Marquez, man.
What you agree with, man? Don't tell me about to be an advocate for Billy Donovan tonight.
No, I'm not. I never was. He's not the one, man. He's not the one. But you can't really stress the Bulls too much, man. At the end of the day, like, it is what it is. They just got a failed season. There's not much you could do. It's their off season you got to look forward to right about now. It's what they're going to do.
But as not just a fan of the league, being fans of the league, Ted, you want not all of them teams to be good, but at least half of the competition or half of your conference to be competitive. You know what I'm saying? And with this roster, these Bulls have failed. because these Bulls are supposed to be at least 1 through 8. At least. That's their ceiling. 1 through 8. If you put Milwaukee, 76ers, and the Celtics, that's your first 3. The Bulls, how talented they are, could be 4 through 8. Easily. It's not even close.
Yeah.
But the problem with the Bulls is they're not going to improve. They're not.
They have a problem on the defensive end, bro. That's the main problem with them, and they don't have their best defensive players, so it's not much you could do about it, man.
And it's like, and
Caruso's out there by himself. Ayo's not that good of a defensive player, so
it's not. He's just too young.
They got nobody to protect the rim. I mean,
no, they don't. Vucevic is a defensive liability, no matter how much offense he gives you.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do about it.
When your big three has faults in their game that you can easily manipulate, all 3 of those guys, Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, and Zach LaVine, that is your big 3. That's your 3 stars on the team right now that you can say we have to watch out and prepare for those guys. And Vucevic, as good of an offensive player he is, he easily gets blown by the first step and becomes a defensive liability. And DeMar and Zach LaVine have never been good defensive players. They just get in front of their players and do the best that they can. And I think that if this Chicago Bulls team had a defensive-minded head coach and actually get a defensive-built team in there who can also create their own shot, they'll be more successful.
I agree. But the problem always been the coach, man. Billy Donovan been the coach from day one. They was just giving him another try. At the end of the day, I think they're gonna get rid of him. I mean, that's the weak link right there.
I mean, I have several weak links.
Nah, that's the major weak link though. When you can't get the best out of DeMar and you can't get the best out of Zach as a coach, you're the weak link.
But how much?
Hold on, y'all. I don't mean to cut nobody off. Everybody right now, I want everybody, if you're rocking with Flight Sports, I need you to subscribe right now to my man Talent Ted. I have the link right now in the chat. My man is putting out some fire heat. You know, he spoke to me personally. He about to turn up the heat on the YouTube streets. Y'all better make sure y'all document this. It's Flight Sports TV.
Shout out to Talent.
Appreciate y'all, man. Definitely. But
now, I don't know how much you heard, but my mic went out.
Oh, you didn't know you was lagged out?
No, I was running my freaking mouth.
About 10 minutes.
Man, I was running my mouth, and I said some good shit too.
We're gonna recreate it.
Yeah, you can drop it if you want.
Well, basically, what I was saying and referring to toxic, calling Billy Donovan a trash can coach. I don't wholeheartedly agree or disagree. I just think there's much better coaching coming from the sideline in any NBA game in any night that we watch than from Billy Donovan. But what I was basically recusing Billy Donovan from bad play of the Bulls is that last offensive set they had against Indiana. Now, we already know they blew the 24-point lead, so a whole lot of mishaps led to Indiana getting back in that game as the Bulls folded right before our eyes. Mm-hmm. That last play, the Bulls received the ball. Zach LaVine, per se, received the ball in the perfect spot, and that is a straight beeline above the arc where he had space to operate and he had time to make.
What are you talking about, Dad? Come on, what are you talking about? Stop dragging it out. Get it out.
Yeah, hold on, Finally. So you just cut off all access, man.
Right.
Slow down. We're coming your way. Pause. Go ahead, Dax.
Yeah. So he was in the perfect position to have a straight beeline to the rack, right? And we know Zach LaVine is uber athletic. And that's one of the main things he loves to do is drive straight to the rack where you don't have any type of zigzag, anything of that nature. So Billy Donovan, whatever play that he called in the waning seconds of that game, the Chicago Bulls had a full 24-second shot clock. So there was plenty of time to make a better decision. So when Zach got the ball on top of the arc, he passed it, right?
Right.
Which he shouldn't have never did. He should have never passed that ball. Then the person he passed it to gave it back to him. Like, wait a minute, Zach, what you doing? This is you. This is your time. Gave it back to Zach, but he gave him the ball because Zach moved from that spot into a worse spot. One of the worst spots that you can be in that situation on the court, which is on the baseline near the corner. So he can easily be tracked. They blitzed him. He put up a wild shot. He missed it. And the Indiana Pacers came back from a 24-point deficit and won that game. That you can't blame on Billy Donovan. So even though it was a bad loss for the Bulls, Billy Donovan is recused from that and doesn't have any blame in that offensive set.
Yeah, that's just the offensive set. But in total, I mean, collectively, just his time on that site, period, it's been no good for them, bro.
Yeah,
Yo, Billy Donovan is going to get a 6-year renewal of his contract when Russell Westbrook come through, and Russell is going to show his behind. He's going to be an MVP, you know what I'm saying, scoring championship next season. And they're going to make it. They're going to be the third team in the East, man. You know what I'm saying? They might release the conference finals. You know what I'm saying?
He trolling.
You're definitely trolling.
Yeah,
There's no way.
He trolling.
He's trolling.
No
I object.
I was no way.
Because, bro, it's no way. Because because I'm gonna explain it to you. By you going ahead and signing Russell Westbrook, you'll have a log jam at point guard that you're gonna have to address. And in my honest opinion, and how well that he's been declining, he's not better than Lonzo right now. I'm sorry, when healthy, he's not. He's not better than Caruso because they both bring defense to that Chicago Bulls team.
Okay.
And if we're being honest, he's not better than Dragic when it comes to coming off the bench and creating his own shot. Dragic, if you look at the numbers.
So let's go back to Lonzo.
Listen, I'm not done, Phonics. If you look at the numbers, right? Hold on. I'm not done, bro. If you look at the numbers, all right, bro. It's one thing to talk, and when you're talking and you're wrong, it's convenient. See, when you're listening to speak, you're not listening to understand. So I'm telling you, when you look at the stats showed that Dragic this season actually is shooting from a better clip when it comes from the shooting percentage, better than Russell Westbrook. So why would you sign him? Logically, it makes no sense. But go ahead, Phonics.
Yeah, let me go ahead. Russell Westbrook is he's an Iron Man. He's gonna give you every bang for your buck. He's gonna be there. He's gonna play. He's gonna be effective, man. And that's the main thing.
Yo, somebody mute your mic.
What? Are you gonna be there to be there every game? I think Russell Westbrook, he got a bad deal in LA, man. He's a great player, and he has more to give. He's young, man. It's like, why are we counting young people out so quick? Many of y'all are young on here, man. And if somebody would have said that you was washed up at 28 or 29 or 30, you'd be like, man, you crazy. He's young.
Well, it's kind of different because I don't play professional sports.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's staying effective.
Phonics is trying to muddy the waters.
That you're going to hate because you know your Lakers are done. They're done. They're an embarrassment. They're an embarrassment.
The Lakers can still make the playoffs.
Hold on.
It's hard to argue with that.
They're not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. The Lakers are not making the playoffs.
I could say this, Flight, in Phonics, on Phonics' behalf. Yeah, the Lakers are very disappointing, and this is something that we're not used to as Laker fans. But nevertheless, the conversation is basically on Russell Westbrook and his integration with the Chicago Bulls. Now, you want a conundrum. You want a conundrum that is crazy in essence for a conundrum coming into a situation that's already fragmented and fragile. Why would you want that for the Chicago Bulls?
Dex, you know I can't say what I want to say because you're gonna block me. I'm gonna get kicked off of here. You know
What is it that you want to say? That's so bad.
He's gonna
talking
bring up
sports.
his Lonzo take again.
Dex, you're the audience. Yo, I'm telling you. Dex, send me in the back, you already know I can't say it, man.
No, but
you know what
what is it that you want to say that would make
He's
it
gonna
so
bring up
bad
Lonzo.
that
This
Flight
is what
would
he's
be
going
so
to do.
irate? You know what I'm saying? You're provocative. You're provocative. You're controversial. The takes that you're doing right
Are
now,
blasphemous.
Come on. Right, no.
blasphemous. It's like the dude drunk
Right to
a whole
lies.
pint of Douce straight.
Man, Flight, no.
Not the
And you
Douce.
know, Dex, I can't say you're going to block me. You're going to kick me off of here, man. I haven't been
But
kicked
listen,
off in
listen,
about 4
Phonics,
months. Maybe 4 months.
stop playing victim. Stop playing victim. All I want to say, all I want to say right now, we know Russell Westbrook is a walking conundrum. We know this.
Don't.
Yes,
You can't.
he's a
No.
knucklehead.
I'm gonna say it, Flight.
When it comes to the court, you always gotta give him a hug and give him some type of assurity, or else he's gonna feel isolated. And once he feels isolated, he's gonna be a walking time bomb.
He gave you everything he had. Was he perfect? No, but he was.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
You're not going to win a title this year or next year.
Phonics, they had to get rid of him. Phonics, they had to get rid of him.
Russell Westbrook is not the same Russell Westbrook you fell in love with, Phonics. You need to understand that.
Phonics, he's the second most highest player in the NBA right now. Not to mention he's turnover prone because the stats show that, and he's actually shooting worse since wearing the Lakers uniform.
Look,
when D'Angelo Russell is shooting the best. Hold on, D'Angelo Russell. It doesn't, bro. D'Angelo Russell is shooting better than Russell Westbrook, and coming from a GM standpoint, you have to make that move, dude. Why are you using your feelings to get involved in here?
J.R. Smith in Cleveland.
I don't know what is his fascination with Russell Westbrook. He's not the same player.
I'm not trying to take away from Russ, but Russ not playing good right now either.
J.R. Smith was that dude in Cleveland.
Oh my
God!
God!
Stop. What about Kyrie Irving? What about Kyrie Irving?
Phonics,
What about
mute your mic
Kyrie?
and do us all a favor.
Bro, what about Kyrie? What about Kyrie? What about Kyrie? And this is why Kyrie left now. If you giving J.R. Smith his credit, knowing Kyrie hit that big shot to win that championship for LeBron, then you're smoking just as much as J.R. was smoking when he fumbled that pass to get swept by the Warriors.
Now you put the allegations, man. I ain't talking about none of that, man.
J.R. Smith was a problem now. Don't sleep on J.R.
No, but Flight, he's talking about J.R. Smith. No, Flight. Flight. Stop it, Flight. He's
bringing up J.R. Smith because you pulling air out of your ass. Why are you bringing up J.R. Smith? How did that relate to Russell Westbrook?
Talking about J.R. Smith and Russell Westbrook. Stay on one topic.
You can't even compare J.R. Smith to Russell Westbrook.
Let me finish. Stop talking over me. What I'm saying is, it links to the whole thing. Hold on, man. Yo, let me finish, man. It links to the whole pressure of playing for LeBron, not with LeBron, but playing for LeBron. Dudes get look at Dennis Schroeder. He's
playing with LeBron
and everything. It's the pressure. We gotta deliver a championship.
Okay, Phonics, that's enough. That's enough, Phonics. You're losing yourself,
bro. Stop.
But listen, Flight, Phonics right now is losing himself, right? He's out of control. Listen, you're not even online. You're talking about Dennis Schroeder, the man who turned out $84 million as a Laker and went abroad to play for Boston, and Boston just let him go. They said, dude, get out of here and get out of here fast. LeBron James wasn't on the Boston Celtics when that happened.
No, I'm not
they brought Dennis Schroeder back to the Lakers.
You're not saving your team. You're not saving your team because your team is shameful. They're not going to make it in the playoffs.
I don't know if they're shameful. They're very disappointing. I will go to that.
Phonics, stop.
There's still another half of the season to play.
Stop, Phonics, stop. You can't do that because no matter what team you root for, the Lakers and the Celtics put the NBA on their back for a very long time. So don't do that and be disrespectful. No, nigga. No, it's about basketball facts here. Don't say it be disrespectful to the Lakers just because it's all season. It's because the Lakers and the Celtics talk the simple fact of the history of the game. You said Russell Westbrook was 29 years old, bro, and he's 34 years old. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's off. He's way off. That's what I'm trying to tell him. He's way off tonight. This is one of your worst nights, Phonics. Toxic T is really manhandling you right now.
Bro, go back to the walking board, bro. You're not ready for this. This is grown man speak. This is grown man talk, bro. You're not ready for this. You're not ready for this.
Phonics is sitting in the bathroom taking a crap, and now he want to come on Flight Sports TV thinking all that.
Bro. The thing is, he's going to the Bulls. You know.
Now wash your hands, man. Flush the toilet, please.
You know who's getting shipped off.
Fine. Stop letting your love for Russell Westbrook come for loose and cloud. Stop letting your love for Russell Westbrook.
You have a weird fascination with Westbrook.
Dude. What is this infatuation, my guy?
He's getting shipped off. You don't know who's getting shipped off.
Shipped off who? Oh, you see? Now time out here. You notice how he came on here to push the Russell Westbrook narrative because he wants Lonzo Ball out of the Chicago Bulls. When a person is so
know where he's coming from. Exactly. I'm glad you peeped it. I'm glad you peeped it.
He's so fixated on Lonzo Ball and the hatred he got for him that he's going to bring Russell Westbrook, who's been playing horribly, by the way, when it comes to the stats. He's going to push him over there to Chicago so that Lonzo can come out of it. This nigga, this nigga's full of shit tonight.
Wait. Guys, slow down for a second. Don't forget we have Talent Ted now. We still have Talent Ted on the panel.
Yeah, let Ted speak, please. Go ahead, Ted.
Okay, I'm Ted. So who would you take? A player that's available or a player that's not available?
Go ahead, Ted.
No, Ted stepped out real quick.
Oh, he stepped down? Okay.
Yo, Phonics, stop yelling.
Right.
You're going to wake up everybody in the house.
What's wrong with you?
Ain't nobody in my house. I'm a bachelor, nigga.
Oh, you by yourself? You ain't no bachelor.
Right. I'm a bachelor, nigga.
What's wrong with you? You gotta stop having these emotional based arguments.
I don't have
because you called him at it. Toxic. You called him at his game, Toxic. You called him at his, but what he failed to realize is that Lonzo's is untouchable. They're not. Why would they move the very piece they need to go forward?
We'll see.
That doesn't make sense. All you gotta do is listen to.
Y'all change your narrative again.
Do you see how frustrated Billy Donovan is?
That
Lonzo's not present and available.
You come on here and you cap, and then we eviscerate and expose you. You go into your car space like Joker, and we have to come on here like Batman, slap you in your face and have you go back again. What is wrong with you, bro? You're not that guy, Phonics, dude. You're not that guy.
Stop. Now we got Ted is back in the building.
Please.
We want to hear your thoughts on this situation.
Nah, they both making good points. I mean,
or even Phonics?
Even Phonics.
Yeah, what up, bro? You don't gotta know me. You said we both making good points, nigga. Nigga, stop trying to play that, man.
Sometimes I gotta double check.
He trying to get you, bro.
Nah, I'm just saying, like, the best ability is availability, and Russ is gonna give you that. But
but is it not worth his availability? Hold on 1 second, Talent. Is his availability is going to be profitable for the Bulls, or his performance is going to be, subpar, drudgery, and it's going to be a headache? Because we already know that Russell Westbrook is a real curmudgeon. We know this.
No, listen, man. First of all, y'all trying to judge Russ off of the Lakers. You can't judge Russ off of the Lakers.
Talent. He ran Kevin Durant off the team.
I'll let y'all talk.
Okay. Respect.
Right. Respect. Wagwan.
He said Wagwan. Now, all I'm trying to say is when Russ was with the Wizards, Russ did what he had to do. You know what I'm saying? When he was with the Rockets, he was pretty all right. So y'all keep beating up on Russ like Russ don't do what he got to do. The problem is going to be if he come to Chicago, it's just that he has that relationship with Billy Donovan. And because he has that relationship with Billy Donovan, it's going to create even more.
Billy Donovan fired. He's going to expedite the situation.
It's going to create more of a problem because now you're going to see the problems with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan become.
We know the problem, Talent. Come on, bro. We've been dealing with this for a year now.
Let the man finish. Let him talk.
But then you're going to have a triangle issue. You understand? And then Billy Donovan is going to be the eye in the middle of that triangle, and it's going to.
Oh my God! The Talent, no what? Talent! You trying to sabotage the ball? You and Phonics are trying to sabotage the ball.
I'm keeping it 1,000.
It don't fit their narrative. And if they don't fit their narrative,
It's not a
they gonna come at
narrative.
you,
No,
man.
we're not dealing with a
Says the
narrative.
man who came in
We're
here trying
dealing
to
with a
fit his own
pendulum.
narrative every time.
Hold on. We're not dealing with a narrative here. No, Fonda. We're dealing with the pendulum. We're dealing with a body of work.
Everything we
There's
said
no
was
narrative
facts.
here. He ran KD out of town.
Yeah, that was regardless. That's the past. Why you worried about the past?
Exactly.
But you saying the leopard gonna change his spots?
No, he told you about Washington and Houston.
He ran one of the greatest players in the NBA
Okay,
out of
but we
town.
gotta bring up LA too. That's part of his word.
Listen. So did
It don't fit
Kyrie.
your narrative.
So did Kyrie. So did the Warriors. So did what's his name from the Warriors. Listen, KD just
No,
won.
that's it. No, Talent. This is one of the worst takes ever.
can't
The
leave
Warriors
alone.
did not
Listen.
run KD out of town.
Bro.
KD left because of Draymond Green situation.
Exactly.
It's not
Draymond
the
Green.
Warriors. No, it's not the Warriors.
Draymond Green
Don't
ran
say the
him
Warriors.
out.
Okay, say Draymond Green.
Regardless.
Don't use the Warriors.
Well,
The Warriors welcome Kevin Durant.
Russ, you can't force me to fit your narrative. Listen to what I'm trying to tell
It's
you,
not
man.
fitting my narrative. You used the
No.
wrong term.
Regardless, no.
How is it narrative when it's just about the
That's
past?
plural.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
a team. That's an organization. That organization did not run KD out of town. They waited. They could have traded KD, but they did not trade KD based on they thought KD would make the
All right.
wiser decision, and unfortunately,
Please
they was
stop,
wrong.
bro. You're not the guy.
You changing the subject, man. All I'm trying to say is
Exactly.
Let's just get back to
you
Russell
used
Westbrook.
as your defense. You said that he ran KD out of Oklahoma. All I'm trying to tell you is
Oh yes,
Draymond Green.
Can't play with
Draymond Green
Khalil.
also did.
Let him
Draymond Green
finish.
did the same thing. Kyrie
Yes,
did the
sir.
same thing. So
Yes, sir.
don't put that on
That's
Russ.
better.
That's just
But no, that's
just
better.
what KD.
Hold on.
No, put
That's
the
better.
put the
What you just said. You
responsibility.
cleaned it up because you
No,
put it on the player instead of the organization.
Regardless, all right, whatever makes you feel better. What I'm trying to say.
No, it's not making me feel better. It's the correct thing.
Minus 2.0.
No,
Let's get him, bro. Get him.
All I'm trying to
Now,
Now,
Sonic be
now-
all right,
Sonic is a
bro.
fool.
Man.
Nah, all I'm trying to explain is that right
I like
now
this.
what the Chicago Bulls need to do is revamp themselves in the all
They're not
season,
going
play
to.
out the season. They don't need to sign nobody because it's already in turmoil. It's over. It's done. They tried it out. You can't sit there and depend
Now
on
you're talking our
Lonzo.
language.
No, I'm saying you can't sit
Agreed.
there and depend on Lonzo, and no knock on Lonzo.
You shouldn't have to.
No, well,
Shouldn't have
Man,
to.
I'm
hey,
hearing
man,
some of C Red talk about Dalen Terry now.
Can I just finish
I mean,
what
when
I'm
does it
saying,
stop?
and y'all could go right back
No,
ahead,
Reaching
man.
real down in the bottom of the barrel, right?
No, let the brother finish what you got to say. Go ahead, brother.
Russell
Yeah,
Talent
Westbrook
cool.
is
Talent cool.
Russell Westbrook is not done. He's a damn good player. He came off the bench. He showed you that he's number one. He showed you he's willing to come off the bench. Yeah, I know what y'all gonna say. He came and he's playing against bench players, but guess what? He was finishing the fourth quarters with that team. You understand? And the reason why D'Angelo Russell, the difference between Westbrook and D'Angelo Russell, which is why I'm
Shooting
mad that you
percentage.
got D'Angelo. That's not shooting
I
percentage.
know you're mad. See, now we get into the crust
No,
of
no.
it. Yes.
Oh man, you just
Speak
pick
your
certain
heart.
words out and just run with it. But let me
Yeah,
finish,
pick your
man.
heart.
D'Angelo Russell is probably the smartest thing y'all have done in years. All right, because what it is that the
You
difference.
sound so anti. It's ridiculous.
Let me finish. Let me finish, man. D'Angelo
Yeah,
Russell
try to cut you off on here, bro.
is a quintessential point guard that knows how to score. Understand what I'm trying to tell you? So therefore, he's getting the ball in the right places. So
I'm
he's
taking
feeding the
mistakes
team
off.
correctly. The difference between him and
Also
Russell
helps the
Westbrook
boys
is
to
that
shoot
Russell.
better
Oh,
percentage
can I
Westbrook.
finish? Oh my God, man! I'm gonna shut up.
It's a lot of
If
trauma
y'all
now.
can
It's
just
a lot
let
of
me
trauma.
finish,
You're
I'm
talking about the
gonna shut up. Nah, I ain't worried about the Lakers, man.
There's a lot of trauma going on. You gotta swim
bro.
through the sharks.
No, I'm a real person. I can
No,
give you
let the
credit.
man finish his point, man. Everybody else get to finish
I
that
can
point.
give you credit. You got an actual team now. I mean, God bless, and you're only 5 games out of third, so you might get lucky. I mean, you're all good.
Oh my God.
I'm not hating on the Lakers. You understand? Now, let me just finish. Russell Westbrook is an actual shooting guard playing as a point guard. That's the difference between them two players.
Shooting guard?
Yes, he's a shoot. I know he can't shoot, but he's a scorer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
So technically, that's his actual position as a shooting guard, but he's masquerading as a point guard. So if you bring him there, The problem is you're gonna have three. You're gonna have three DeMar DeRozans. You're gonna have DeMar DeRozan. You're gonna have Zach LaVine, and you're gonna have Russell Westbrook. That's gonna be three DeMar DeRozans. You don't need that.
Oh,
I just
Let
said that, talent. I said that already.
man, you will not let me finish, man. I'm gonna shut up and let y'all do all the talking y'all want to do.
Thank you. You might be doing us a favor.
I lagged
I
out.
already said
I
that.
like-
hey, yo,
But
hey,
I
Jack, don't say
lagged.
nothing, Jack.
Hold
Don't say,
on, man.
let Ted finish.
I lagged out, so I didn't hear you say that. I apologize.
okay.
Sir.
Okay.
Just remember that. I just came back in. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, and let me wrap up so y'all could get ahead and I could listen. You understand? All the book where Russell Westbrook needs to go, to be honest with you, is the Miami Heat or to the LA Clippers. And the Miami Heat is actually the best place for him to go because that's where he can help out Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy Butler needs as much help as he can get right now. All right, so that's just my point. That's what I'm trying to get across. But stop shitting on Russell Westbrook, because Russell Westbrook gets buckets.
All right.
Talent, hold on one second before you go, Talent. Hold on. Talent, don't you know there's 4 teams that's vying for Russell Westbrook's services? And you mentioned 3 of them. The other team is his former team, the Wizards.
He's going to the Bulls, man.
Well, the Wizards don't need him. I mean,
they can taking your boy job.
They
can use him. They can use him, but they don't need him. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? But he needs to find a way to make sure he got a contract.
Miami need him more than anybody.
That's who's gonna exactly.
So you think Miami needs him more than anybody?
If he goes to Miami, he'll have a contract next year. He'll be able to stay in the league.
I think Chicago needs him more than anybody.
Nah, Chicago can't. The Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan is gonna create an issue, bro. It's gonna create an issue.
Yeah, he's gonna get himself fired. Billy Donovan knows better.
Russell Westbrook done waved Billy Donovan off. When Billy Donovan told him to come sit on the bench, Russell Westbrook waved him off.
Right. How much you want to bet that? How much you want to bet?
That's why I keep calling him a curmudgeon.
No, I agree.
He's trying to keep his job.
I agree with you. I agree with you to a certain degree, but you got to look for the positives in the player, bro. No player out there is perfect.
No, but you don't wave on coaches. You don't do that. That's above and beyond.
Get you points.
Call of Duty.
He gonna get you points. He can keep you in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Only coach you can wave off is Luke Walton.
Yo, Chicago has nobody right now.
Chicago don't need nobody. They need to get rid of people, bro.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree.
Yeah, less is more, right? Talent.
At this point in time, yeah, it is.
Chicago. It is what it is. I'm just saying.
Hey, bro, who think is first that Chicago should get rid of?
Who's the first person? DeMar DeRozan?
Yes.
I think Kobe White. I think Kobe White's the first person.
You already paid Zach. Nah, one of those two have to go, bro. The two of them.
Yeah, but I'm saying the first person should be Kobe White.
Nah, I don't think so.
I was thinking about somebody else, but
because he has value.
Look, here he goes the Lonzo narrative,
and he's young.
Nah, not Kobe White. DeMar DeRozan has the most.
Then who you want? Who you want? Who is your option?
With you.
Must be lagging.
That's where their mistake was made. I'm lagging.
Yeah, we didn't hear your whole.
Yeah, you good now?
Yeah, he was lagging.
Nah, but
he said Lonzo Ball.
They should have gave him up prior to the trade deadline.
How you gonna give him somebody that's injured?
Who, DeMar DeRozan?
You said DeMar. I thought you said Lonzo. I didn't hear that.
He said Lonzo.
Nah, I don't need to go until he ready to go. Lonzo good. Lonzo
okay, I'm listening to Phonics.
If Lonzo contract,
Lonzo Ball hater, he's gonna find something to do narrative.
When Lonzo's contract up, if he want to leave, he need to go do that.
Phonics have an unquenchable thirst to be a hater.
No. He said no.
He's thirsty.
He's thirsty for Lonzo Ball.
Where's it going?
Who, Lonzo?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. You got to see what's up.
There's nothing up. He hasn't produced, so there's nobody gaining interest. Russell Westbrook is going to come and take his job. So what's going to happen? Billy Donovan.
Why are you trying? Why are you
He makes
spiraling
it.
this
He has
narrative?
no
Phonics,
he has no other basketball.
Phonics, you're upsetting my
taste.
stomach.
No,
He said,
He is
"Yes."
spiraling such a false narrative. It's crazy.
Why are you
It's
listening
crazy.
to this man? He has no
Billy
credible
Donovan's
basketball
job is
tape
on the line.
that we can listen to.
And Phonics is
Honestly.
intelligent, but he wants to be a buffoon tonight.
Billy Donovan's job
Well,
is on the
hey,
line.
guess what? Let me ask you a question, Dex. If we say it's a watermelon and you got it into watermelon, and the other person says it's a banana, we let people say it's banana and just let
That's
them move.
racist, man.
Because we
You
know
say
it's a
on black people
watermelon.
eat watermelon. I don't eat watermelon.
Phonics
That's
is
racist.
scrawling.
You say
You see,
scrawling
he's so
such
dumb
a
and
false,
sensitive. He thinks
far
that's
out
a
negative,
racist tactic.
thinking that Lonzo
He's
is
so
going to
dumb
get
and
kicked out
stupid. He
of
thinks that's a
Chicago
racist tactic.
He should.
after what
He
he
should.
demonstrated. Why would
He's
you
gonna
kick somebody
cost
out
this
that
man his
demonstrated when he was
job, man.
healthy? No, listen,
Phonics.
Phonics, let's be realistic. Phonics, let's be
They
realistic.
were number 4.
2019?
They were the 4 seed when he was healthy, Phonics. Stop it.
What year was
When he
that?
was healthy
Hold on,
playing,
what
they
year
were
was
the
it?
It was last year,
What year?
Phonics. Last year.
Nigga,
It was a year ago. It was a year ago.
Yo, okay, we're talking about every team is almost 20 games away from being done with the season. What are we talking about here? You sound shameful. You talking about something almost
No, let me give you an example. Let me give you an example right now.
Why are you talking to this man, bro?
When
That's all he does.
when
is come up with no
Zion
tape.
Williamson was
You can't
healthy,
mess with me.
the Pelicans was number 1 in the league.
I don't talk to
Zion's been
ignorant.
in and out of the lineup, and now he's out for several weeks. So, do you give up on Zion?
Hell
Yes.
I do. Yes, I
By
do.
his logic, yes, he does.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But you know what? He
The
showed
kerfuffle
more
is
to me.
crazy right now.
He
Dex,
showed more
let
to
him
me
kerfuffle by
than
himself.
Lonzo Ball has ever showed since he's been in the NBA. He's on his way
No, that's
out.
not the
You know
point. That's
that.
not the
I know that.
point. Listen, that's not the
He's on his
point.
way out.
On his
See,
way
see,
out of here.
Listen, you're
Listen to what
kicking
he
the can
said.
down the road. We're saying that both individuals, or as they
He's on
impact
his
on
way
their
out.
team. Listen, Phonics, I'm not comparing Lonzo to no Zion. We already know that's a whole different monster. But I'm saying that when Zion was healthy on this team, they was number 1 in the league. They was above Denver. They was above Ja and Memphis. You hear me? Now when Lonzo was healthy in the league, they was up to number 1, just like the Pelicans.
Number 1.
Both teams was number 1 with the prospective players. So now these players are hurt, and the teams have made a big drop in performance. So you give up on the player that helped you get to the top.
No, the funny part is who do you think
That don't make no
talking
sense.
to? No, hold on. The funny part, who do you think you're talking to? You think I'm stupid?
You acting like
stupid.
No, hold on.
I know
You
you.
are
Listen,
stupid.
Phonics, I know you intelligent, but you're acting like
You are
it.
stupid.
Hold on.
You're acting
You
like
said
it.
Zion Williamson, who has currently played this year, and then you talk about a player who hasn't played almost 2 years. You're not making sense.
But Zion didn't play none last year,
He
Phonics.
didn't
Zion didn't play
last
one.
year. He was
Zion
on the
didn't
bench
dribble.
last year.
Phonics,
But he
listen,
played
Phonics.
this year. You have a player
Okay,
that hasn't played
but
almost
I'm
2
using a
seasons.
comparison.
What are you
I'm
talking
using a
about? You can't compare
I'm using a
it.
Dex,
comparison,
leave it alone,
Phonics.
Dex, leave it
Phonics,
alone, Dex.
I'm only comparing.
No, you can't
I'm only
compare it, and you're trying to
yes,
speak.
I'm only
You can't.
comparing the
You
impact
can't.
that each
No, you
individual
can't.
had when they was
No.
healthy on their prospective
So
team.
goofy.
That's it.
Lonzo does not have the impact that Zion has on his team. You know what I'm saying?
Do you see the drop? Did you see the precipitous drop of the
Yes.
Bulls? And do you see the
Yes.
precipitous
Not
drop
using
of the Pelicans? Both was number
Not
1.
using facts.
Zion's
Actually-
teammates like him. They like him. He's a contributor.
Oh man,
You know
you're
what I'm
making
saying?
up stuff
Ball
now.
doesn't come to work. He doesn't come to work. He ain't there.
You're confabulating. You're off.
Bro, just leave it. Listen, he sounds very. Listen, he's
Yeah.
giving off very feminine
Phonics,
energy.
please,
He's giving very. he's
please
giving a
do
lot of-
not take any fentanyl when you come on the panel.
Bro,
You can't
Phonics
give me
is talking
numbers.
like.
Where
You see,
has he been
Phonics.
almost 2 years?
See, Phonics is talking
Where's
like a
been
bitter
almost 2
woman
years?
that you blocked after a
No,
date.
you keep saying I'm talking, but
This
where
is
has
what
he been almost
Phonics
2
is
years?
talking about,
You
bro.
have
Phonics
no
has
numbers.
Phonics, you're
no.
being very
Phonics
You
has
have
very
no.
impervious right now to what
Phonics
we're
has
saying.
no.
That's
what's his name?
factual.
The brother said before me.
He's not.
I don't
He's
fix your
negating the
narrative.
facts that fit his narrative.
You're
but
becoming a
keep
roadblock to
pushing the
facts.
narrative.
Hey,
He hasn't played almost 2 years. What are we talking about?
That's
You know
not
what,
true.
bro? That's not really true because he played last year when
almost 2
Zion
years.
wasn't playing.
Almost 2
He's
years.
been
What are you
out a
talking
year.
about, bro?
He's been out a year and maybe a couple of weeks.
A year and a couple
hold on.
months.
Stop it with your bullshit.
He
We
stopped
talking about
playing in
NBA
January.
season.
I don't talk to circus monkeys.
It's still a year. I don't care what season you're talking about. It's still a year,
I don't
knucklehead.
talk to circus
We're on
monkeys.
a whole new NBA season. He's not playing.
No, listen, he went out. Phonics, stop it. He went out in January, Phonics. It's only February. It's not even. It's only 2 weeks in February.
No, this is a new NBA season. What are you talking about?
New NBA.
It's still not a calendar year, Phonics. It's a calendar year,
bro. It's a calendar year, dude.
What are you talking about, Phonics?
It's a calendar year. You know what a calendar year is, right?
Come on, Phonics, don't do that, bro.
Bro, you know what a calendar year is, right?
Stupid, man.
Don't do that, bro. Don't do that, Phonics. Don't do that.
Circus monkey. Circus
Don't do that.
Circus
Don't do that, Phonics. It's a calendar year. He's been out a year now.
Circus animal. Let's throw this boy some peanuts.
He ain't been out no 2 years. Why are you being such a deficit right now? You're supposed to be an asset.
See, Phonics won. He got y'all to let him bash Lonzo.
I mean, talented. I'm just. I'm
Phonics trying to provoke trauma.
Argue with ignorance.
He was
He's trying to provoke drama.
Lonzo and he got there, bro. I ain't even gonna hold
Oh no, we gonna always get the Lonzo's podcast, so it's always
right.
good.
It's a Lonzo
anybody can insert Lonzo at any given time they want.
So when you play the NBA Europe or NBA Africa, what you gonna talk about then?
Same thing. We're gonna stream the game live. What are you talking about,
funny
fool?
how this nigga has so much to say, but we don't even know what this nigga's favorite team is.
And you gonna be up here when we stream them live from NBA Africa.
And this nigga want to talk about
What are you
us.
talking about?
Hey, bro, you got to say
You
voice.
follow Lonzo.
Nigga. No, hold on.
1 plus 3 is 4 in his head.
You keep saying that. Nigga, my team is the Knicks, nigga. I'm Phonics, nigga.
Oh, for sure. You a Knicks. You a Knicks. Oh, you're one of them Knicks fans who delusional. You're clearly a delusional fan, bro.
Phonics, you a hallmark of hate,
bro. Your facts are not valid, bro. You're simply not that guy. And you come over here with a narrative that you try to push, and you narrative just dog walk because you have an emotional-based argument.
What's the narrative?
The narrative that you tried to pull this whole time is you want Russell Westbrook to go to Chicago to simply push out Lonzo Ball to prove your point.
I don't have any control over that. The only thing I said was,
well, you act like you don't see it.
That is cap, bro. You pushed your narrative on the ball. You have your receipts on it. You have your receipts on it. You have your receipts on it.
Phonics,
you're not that guy.
When it comes to Lonzo, Phonics, you're a hallmark of hate. And you're very verbose in your hatred.
Wow.
You are. You have so much vitriol for no reason.
Russell played this year. How many has Lonzo played?
Lonzo hasn't played none.
All right, shut the fuck up then. You lost.
Oh, exactly. Now you want to be disrespectful?
Exactly.
You see,
when Lonzo come back, he's gonna make you look so silly, Phonics.
This is why he always loses because he's
gonna
not
make Phonics
emotionally intelligent enough to have an argument with people. If your debate, if your debate is to shut the F up and we're stupid and we don't know what you're talking about, that's not helping your argument, bro.
Phonics love to be a
you
part.
You love hitting low blows when your point don't fit your narrative.
His trope is going to end soon.
His trope, he wants to call people out their names.
Don't even worry about
argument
it.
Is falling.
Lonzo come back and start dunking on people, catching alley oops, making hell of a pass and assists and getting triple doubles. Phonics gonna be a mute.
Real men don't have to disrespect another man. Real men don't have to disrespect another man to get their point across.
Russell Westbrook will be in the Hall of Fame one day.
That's not denied.
No doubt. Russell Westbrook will be first ballot Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Absolutely.
He's already actually Russell Westbrook is a playing Hall of Famer.
Actually,
he's playing in the Hall of Famer as he's playing.
So
that's not a problem. That's not a problem. But that doesn't stop Russell Westbrook and his personality's flaws. Because right now he's a walking conundrum, and this is why there's hesitation on bringing him in.
I hope you see you out there, Dex. I hope you smack you in the face.
Mentality. Russell been like that since day one, bro. He just plays hard.
But he was younger. Now he's older. So teams might not want to integrate that in their rebuild.
All we're saying, talented. We gotta stop acting like that there's not that we gotta stop acting like this is not what the NBA owners are saying behind closed doors. Like the owners are saying, it's like as much as we love Russ and as much what Russ can bring, he's not.
And we appreciate what Russ brought to the NBA, especially me. He's an LA native.
Yo, listen though, you just gave me 4 teams that would acquire him. So
because he's
wait, hold on, Tyler, I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Say that again.
I said you just gave 4 teams.
Your mic is low, bro.
I said you gave 4 teams that would acquire him, so he's not dead yet, bro.
Right, there's 4 teams that's talking. So it's been reported, but we don't know how serious they are in fetching Russell Westbrook.
Man, Russell is gonna be on a team, bro.
I'm not saying he's not. We're not debating that.
He shouldn't be on Chicago.
He's gonna be in the Bulls and Lonzo's gone.
Bro,
I agree he shouldn't be on the Bulls because I agree with that, but
so what are you talking about here, Ted?
Not for the reasons that you guys say. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But everybody's gonna have an opinion that's different. But as long as the agreement is that we agree that Russell Westbrook is in there.
This is what I'm saying, talent. So I don't know who you're referring to on this one. I'm saying this. And when I was introduced my flight in tonight's stream, I had stated that the fungibility of Russell, Zach, and DeMar will be non-auspicious. That's my point. And I'm saying it slow so it'll be understood.
You're going to have a log jam, man. That's it. And then it's going to
That's why...
it's gonna turn into drama, and that's what.
I agree. I'm rocking with you on that, and that's what I stated earlier. But we might have just used different terms. But we talking apples and apples here.
No, but I blame it on Billy Donovan because he already can't handle 2 superstars. Well, I think he can handle 3.
That's right. His testosterone level is too low for that combination.
Hold on, back up. Who are superstars? You know what I'm saying? Hold on. Number 1, Zach LaVine ain't no motherfucking superstar. Number 2, DeMar DeRozan ain't no motherfucking superstar. And we know
yes, he is.
Damn sure ain't no superstar.
No, DeMar's not a superstar.
Goddamn right, he ain't no superstar. You the big boy, no, he ain't no superstar. And I thought
all right.
He ain't no superstar.
Russ used to be a superstar, but Russ is not at superstar level anymore. Russ is not even an all-star level.
Listen to us. He's a superstar in their system.
Not anymore. His name can be put in the marquee lights to attract. You know what I'm saying? But his play.
You ain't name anybody who's a Hall of Famer. DeRozan ain't a Hall of Famer.
Oh no, that's not true. DeRozan is a Hall of Famer. He might not be first ballot. Yes, he is. Come on, man. You better check his records and his resume. No, I'm gonna let you do the research. No, I'm not gonna do it for you.
This is ignorant. Don't even answer that question.
Yeah, you need to check DeMar DeRozan's resume.
How you an NBA fan? You don't know DeMar DeRozan's resume. There's no answer to that ignorant shit.
Don't use me against me.
Right. No, you're right. That's ignorant shit. We don't do ignorant shit over here.
You know DeRozan ain't no damn Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's Hall of Famer. Okay. The only thing he's lacking, the only thing DeMar DeRozan lacking is a championship.
Is the ring.
The only thing he's lacking.
I said for losing to LeBron James the most.
That doesn't stop you from. That doesn't prevent you from being a Hall of Famer.
Talented enough to be Hall of Famer.
Look how many times Karl Malone lost to Michael Jordan. That don't prevent him from being a Hall of Famer. Look how many times Karl Malone lost to David Robinson. Look how many times Karl Malone lost to Charles Barkley, Elijah Wan.
Right.
That didn't prevent him from being a Hall of Famer. Come on, Phonics. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
The game a little bit.
All right.
I don't think he knows the game.
Let me take the word super out because I think super is the reason why y'all going crazy. So
no, we're not.
No, he said Hall of Famer. No. We already said he's not a superstar.
Nah, DeMar DeRozan is not a Hall of Famer.
What?
Nah.
Come on, dude.
Leave this ignorant shit alone.
He's not.
Talent, I'm shocked at you.
Nah, he's not a Hall of Famer.
Fine, you're fine. You're right. You know what? That's everybody's opinion. It's opinion.
Nah, he's not.
You're right. He's not a Hall of Famer. I'm not gonna argue that shit.
He
got records.
He don't got enough.
Don't argue that ignorant shit. Don't argue it.
You don't need a whole bunch of accolades to be a Hall of Famer.
Don't argue that.
All you just need is consistent numbers, and your numbers have to be bigger than the numbers that you're going to a person that you're going to supersede. And DeMar DeRozan have numbers for his position. But matter of fact, I don't know what position they're going to even induct DeMar DeRozan in. Shooting guard, small forward, power forward. I don't even know. To be honest
He's
with you,
not. He's not.
He's played all three positions.
I believe he is, but I don't believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. See, that's what we need to get out of. You could be a Hall of Famer. You can go after the third try.
Right. There's nothing wrong with it. A Hall of Famer is Hall of Famer.
He's not
Because
a Hall of Famer, bro.
DeMar DeRozan doesn't have really any enemies in the media, so he's going to get his votes.
So you're saying then that's based on favoritism?
Well, basically, that's all it is, right? Preference.
Well,
Hall of
if that's the
Fame
case,
in
then
all
I
sports
guess
is based on preference, unless you
mean,
just got godly numbers. Outside of that, the mid-tier Hall of Famers, that's based on preference.
Twin, we're not letting him explain his stupid.
Let me ask you a question, man. Let me ask you a serious question. Is Sean Kemp a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Sean Kemp is in the Hall of Fame?
I think so.
Do your research.
I said I think so. I didn't say he was or he wasn't.
I'm saying that. No, I'm talking.
I thought he might have had a gold jacket.
Do your research and find out, because Sean Kemp is not a Hall of Famer. Okay. And I don't. If Sean Kemp is not a Hall of Famer, there's no way in hell DeMar DeRozan is a Hall of Famer.
Why? I think DeMar DeRozan numbers are bigger than Sean Kemp's. He's been in the league longer than Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp didn't have a long run in the NBA like DeMar DeRozan.
You guys are crazy. All right, I can't. If you got it.
And Sean Kemp fell off. Hold on, Sean Kemp fell off before the age that DeMar DeRozan is currently at.
Impact counts, man.
Oh yeah, Sean Kemp definitely had impact.
Impact counts, man, and that should be what makes you a Hall of Famer.
Well, I think DeMar DeRozan have impact, but it's just not turning into a ring.
It's not. It's not to the level of a Sean Kemp, and he's not a Hall of Famer. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So
I mean, both been faces of franchises. DeMar was definitely the face of Toronto. DeMar DeRozan was definitely the face of San Antonio, and his first year with Chicago was definitely the face of Chicago.
Popovich is always the face of San Antonio.
I mean, as far as players, I'm talking about players. I ain't talking about the overall personality.
Player and coach don't matter. Popovich is always the face, even when.
Well, okay. If you want to put it that way, then is Missouri the face of Toronto Raptors?
What?
Huh? Masai, Missouri.
No, I'm just trying to tell you that's the type.
I'm just asking a question. I'm not. It's not a. I got you. I'm just asking a question.
No, it's not. I'm just. No, I get what he's saying.
Oh, you know names, but you don't know basketball. Phonics, everybody.
What you got to understand?
Watching basketball.
Well, let him answer that. Let him answer that to his best ability.
No, I'm just letting you know the stronghold that Popovich has over that team, over that franchise. Even when David Robinson and Tim Duncan were there, Popovich was still the face of the franchise. I mean, come on now, let's keep it 100. Man. Avery Johnson was there.
We know Popovich was the boss, but I think Duncan was the face of the franchise.
Russell Westbrook.
Popovich will always be the face of that franchise till he leaves, bro. That's Popovich's franchise, man.
Oh, I'm not denying that.
That's his franchise, no matter what.
I'm just saying the face of the franchise to me is when they have a game and they highlight the prospective players, whoever the lead player they highlight, that's the face of that franchise.
I get where you're going with it, but at the same time, you're not dumb. You understand what I'm trying to tell you about.
I understand about Pop. Pop is unique.
Exactly. Pop is just different. Hey man, you understand?
Why is Phonics sitting over there yelling in the bathtub? Phonics, you in the bathtub and you yelling, blowing bubbles.
I'm agreeing with the brother, man. Yeah, he dropping science, man. The brother dropping science right now. Your brother keep dropping science, B.
You always say that when somebody agree with you on something.
Wow, this nigga Phonics always loves the. It's always funny when Phonics is losing. You know it's funny, Dex? How Phonics loses an argument, talk shit about us, and then turns around
having a bubble bath right now, playing with his little ducky, rubber ducky.
I mean, that's cool, but the brother's
bro, you're a cheerleader, my nigga. Get off a nigga's jock strap, bro. Hold your own jock strap, nigga.
Nah, don't worry about me. Answer his question.
Nah, nigga. Nah.
You see the ring. You see the ring that Kawhi. You see the ring that Kawhi Leonard got for the Raptors. If DeMar DeRozan had gotten that one, he would be a Hall of Famer.
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
He'd be a Hall of Famer.
That's what I just said. He's missing a ring to cement it. See, talent. We say the same things, but you wait to like several seconds to say
No,
it.
that you behind. You're not understanding.
Look at
If he
Fonz.
would've won
Get
it
this
Fonz, why are
cheerleading
you
ass
keep
nigga outta
attacking?
here.
Why are you attacking
as
me?
a Raptor, if he would have won it, he would have got it.
I know that. But if he get a ring now, it'll submit him still.
Bro, this is just cheerleader.
It depends on who you get it with.
I mean, true. Man.
Well,
You never
Chris
know.
Bosh did the same thing, right? He's a Hall of Famer.
Is Chris Bosh in the, is he in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, he is.
Yes. I know that for sure. He's in the Hall of Fame.
That's a fact.
LeBron did that for him.
Oh, come on. Stop deferring.
I'm done. I'm done.
Give Chris Bosh his credit.
That's it. That shit ignorant. That shit
LeBron
ignorant.
did that for him.
That shit ignorant. That shit ignorant.
I can't with you right now.
No, I'm just kidding.
Talent, you and Fonz is trolling. You guys probably sitting in the same tree on the same branch.
Dang, stop arguing over ignorant shit. That's
LeBron
ignorant.
did that for him, bro.
Talent, go.
No, bro. That's ignorant ass shit.
So you saying when you open up the book and you look at the compendium of Chris Bosh.
Why are we debating the Hall of Famer's career on this? Like, seriously.
Nah,
you going to say LeBron done that for him for real?
Yeah, he did.
So, wait, hold on. So, wait, hold on. Hold on. Is Scotty the reason why Michael's in the Hall of Fame?
What type of question is that?
Well, answer it. That's all.
Answer it. You just did it for Chris Bosh?
I'm gonna say yeah, because you asked me a dumbass question. I mean,
but you gave us a dumbass response with the whole Chris Bosh LeBron situation?
Bro, first of all, listen to how dumb what you just said is, bro. You just compared Chris Bosh to Scottie Pippen, bro.
No, I didn't. I compared two Hall of Famers. I compared two Hall of Famers. I compared two Hall of Famers who had Hall of Fame teammates. I can do that, man.
Bro.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Talent this. Talent.
Come on,
so
bro,
you said if Chris Bosh, Talent. So you said if Chris Bosh wouldn't have won those rings with Miami, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer?
Hell no.
Okay.
Well, but you can argue. But again, if you can argue, if Michael didn't have Scotty, right,
bro,
and Michael did win those,
I'm just saying,
if you're going to do that for LeBron, Ted, you can't do that. You gotta have the same energy.
No, what you're doing right now is ignorancy, bro. That don't you cannot compare.
You just said, LeBron, his whole Hall of Fame career is because of LeBron. You could argue that Michael Jordan's whole career, whole reason why he won a championship was due to the fact that he had a guy like Scottie Pippen. It takes two to tango, and he had Scottie Pippen. They won 6 rings. So if you want to do that for Chris Bosh, you got to do it for Michael Jordan too. You can't do that.
Okay. Whatever makes you happy, bro. I'm not arguing that stupidity, bro.
Then why the hell are we arguing this dumbass argument about Chris Bosh and LeBron not being in the Hall of Fame?
Yo, bro,
that's ignorant as hell too.
I don't know. Whatever makes you happy, bro. Just me and stupidity don't get along. So
because
I'm not trying to.
I don't have a relationship with stupidity, bro. These niggas are full of shit. They can sit here and have they can sit here and have the greatest conversation.
Hold on one second.
And then, all right, bro.
Okay, hold on one second. But Talent. So remember when Chris Bosh went over to Miami, right?
Right.
He played a reduced role. So if he wouldn't have played with LeBron, he would have played at his full capacity.
His full potential.
No, he played at his potential.
No,
but he was with the restricted capacity. He was only there to do play a certain role.
Exactly.
So if he wouldn't have played with LeBron, it's a chance that his numbers would have swelled.
No, listen to me.
Because he was a double-double guy.
Hold on. Listen to me. And
why are we arguing Chris Bosh?
Maybe I can help this dude out right here.
We got Purple Baby in the building.
Hold on, let me just get this out.
Long time no see.
Purple Baby. Let me just get this out though. So maybe I can help this dude out with this nonsense he talking. Now,
but you just brought up a whole conversation.
Bro, just chill for a second, man. Let me just answer his question.
You're gonna go and explain the same shit that we've been explaining.
Bro, could I?
Go ahead, though. I'm not listening to it, but please go ahead to it.
All right, so
I'm not listening to ignorant cheater. Drop. Go ahead, continue. Speak.
Talent, you there?
Even StreamYard don't agree with the bullshit. He finna speak out his mouth.
Yeah, he'll probably be back.
I got tired of y'all, man.
Okay. Man. No, he'll be back. Go ahead, Purple Baby. How you doing?
Salute to you. I'm doing great. How are you?
Okay.
I wanted to rewind it back a second because I was trying to get on the stream the other day, but I ended up falling asleep before I ended up logging on. But when y'all was talking about the Hornets and stuff, I just wanted to go back. Do y'all mind?
Now let's go back. Go ahead. Now let's go back.
Um, no, I was just saying what y'all was saying as far as they draft capital and stuff like that. I don't know how true it is that they're gonna bring Bridges back. You know, that's just something I'm waiting on because I heard that they're now waiting on the NBA to do their little investigation and stuff like that. So I know when he's allowed to come back that he's probably gonna end up suspended. But with that said, what do y'all think as far as them bringing Bridges back? It ain't even how good the team would be, but when it comes to this draft pick probably being top five, what does that mean for that incoming player, or should they trade the pick or whatever? Since they're gonna be bringing Bridges back and possibly Kelly Oubre too, because I seen that he wanted to stay, he don't want to leave.
I don't. I'm. I. I don't. I mean, we can. If we're being honest, I mean, even they drafted that top 5 pick, Purple Baby, right? Do you think they're gonna do anything with it?
I mean, I want to give them some benefit of the doubt because they are, with Mark Williams. I know it's the end of the season and stuff like that, but they did do something for Mark Williams.
I mean, Mark Williams is a maybe. He's a so far maybe. So
The Charlotte Hornets are a dead franchise, man.
it's very depressing talking about him.
They're a dead franchise. That's just
Very depressing talking about him.
Exactly. Oh God.
I'm not trying to be funny.
But since y'all can hear me, let me just say what I was about to say, please, before I cut out again, man. Because they need to come fix my internet. But what I was gonna explain to you, Dex, is that the reason why Chris Bosh had to take a back seat is because Dwayne Wade was there also. So that's the reason why he had to take a back seat. And to help this dude out, when Scottie Pippen was with Michael Jordan, you got the full Scottie Pippen because it was just the two of them. There wasn't a third involved in this situation. So that's why you can't compare the two of them. All right, my guy?
I mean, that's semantics because at the end of the day, that's semantics because, again, if you said, and I quote that, those rings are because of LeBron. But you could argue if Michael never got Scottie a prototype point forward, you could argue that Mike wouldn't have those rings.
Bro, listen to me, man. Mike was gonna get his rings regardless, because if it wasn't Scottie, it was gonna be somebody else, bro. Mike is a demon, bro.
It's not Lonzo though. It's not Lonzo. He's not.
Mike is a demon.
In the background goes back to Lonzo.
Mike, nah, he's trolling, but Mike is a demon, bro. That's what you don't understand.
I understand Mike is a demon.
As a matter of fact, bro, I'm gonna put a link in the chat, bro. I need you to copy that link and put it in your search engine and take a look at that, bro. Because
I'm not gonna go do more history on Michael Jordan.
No, you need to do your research, bro. Because for you,
I've done plenty of research.
Nah, you ain't do enough. Obviously, you ain't do enough. Nah, I gave you facts. I ain't give you a hypothetical. I gave you facts, bro. I gave you facts. I never gave you hypotheticals.
I'm not doing no more Michael Jordan research.
I don't deal with the hypotheticals, bro. I'm just letting you know that you're comparing.
It's pointless.
It's in the private chat for you, bro, man. You can take it or leave it. It don't matter.
I'm good. I'm not watching.
But trust me, bro. You cannot compare Chris Bosh to Scottie Pippen. What are you, nuts?
They're two Hall of Famers. Why can't we compare them?
Man, listen, bro. Like I just told you, bro.
What? They're two Hall of Famers. Why can't
he's a knucklehead, bro. That's what he is, man. You're just dumb, bro. That's out of all the things I've ever heard you say, bro, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, bro.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Oh God, bro.
Nobody's ass.
Nah, that's not your job.
It's not my
yourself.
job
Purple
to
Baby
care about
did
niggas'
mention
opinions or
something
feelings
about the
either.
Charlotte Hornets.
Nah, we can move on now. If you ain't
Well,
got
we ain't
nothing to
gotta have the
respond
last word
about
every time.
what I just said. No,
Yeah,
I'm just saying. I just need you.
I'm not gonna
I was actually talking to you, Dex. So if you ain't gonna respond to what I said, then we can just move on. That's all.
No, not you talking about
You're
the
talking to you,
Scottie
Dex.
Pippen and Chris
No.
Bosh?
Forget that. No, put that
Yeah, I
aside.
wasn't on
I
that.
responded. No, I responded to you by letting you know the reason why Chris Bosh had to take a back seat wasn't because of
Right. Yeah, I
LeBron.
heard that. Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah,
because they
Flash.
also had Dwayne Wade. Now, if it was just
Yeah.
LeBron and Chris Bosh, that would have been a different story. But the fact that they had
Okay.
Dwayne Wade is the reason why
Yeah.
he had to take a
Doesn't
step back.
matter.
That's all I
Chris
was trying
Bosh
to
was
say, bro.
yes, talent. Chris Bosh was definitely the third wheel. We agree.
All right, we can move. We can move
A
on to
third wheel
Charlotte
is a
now.
third wheel who's in the Hall of Fame. It
Just
doesn't matter. It's semantics.
all right, whatever makes you happy, bro.
It's a semantic. Are we gonna argue
Yeah,
a
but Toxic,
three-time
come on,
champion?
Toxic.
Bro,
We're
we
trying to
off it.
move from
We
that.
off it, bro. We off it, bro.
We got
Let it be,
a
bro.
whole
The link
lot of
is in the
stuff
chat,
to
man.
share, to share
I'm not.
our drama.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
let's just
Okay.
That's some ignorant shit. Let's just move the fuck on.
When it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, Baby mentioned the Charlotte Hornets, and I'm not as astute on the Charlotte Hornets as might be on other teams. I kind of fell off the Charlotte Hornets when they really didn't do anything in the offseason to cement the situation after Miles Bridges. They just left it in a balance, and we're seeing the results from that. They did a little something in the offseason for Mason Plumlee, but that might be a little too late. And Jalen McDaniels, and how happy is Jalen McDaniels right now being a 76er? He has an opportunity to play in a playoff series before LaMelo Ball, for crying out loud. Oh, ain't that something? But it is what it is. The Charlotte Hornets is basically just surrendered. They fell on their sword and they threw away their shield and they just left themselves out in the Mojave Desert to dry up and die.
I gotta laugh. Charlotte Hornets is a dead conversation out here. I ain't gonna hold you.
What'd you say about the conversation, Todd?
Nah, I was gonna say, Purple Baby brought up Charlotte and she dried up the situation a little bit. I no disrespect with what I'm saying, but this Charlotte is a dead franchise. Like the best thing they got on there is LaMelo Ball, and they don't even know what to do with him. That man just playing out his time. That's all he know. But he definitely moving out of there. You heard me?
Yeah, man, that shit is crazy, man. The Hornets is definitely finished.
Yeah, that's a dead franchise, man.
I thought Russell Westbrook was going to go to Charlotte at a point in time. They was flirting with that idea.
Lonzo would still be starting, though. I mean, LaMelo would still be starting,
Of course. That's no question.
But you see, the problem with that situation is Russ don't know how to play without the ball. He don't know how to play off ball. You know what I'm saying? So LaMelo actually probably would have went and played shooting guard, to be honest with you. But that's not a good place for Westbrook, man.
Nah.
He
I
don't
know
need to go.
Juju had proposed Westbrook going over there with to Charlotte to mentor Melo to a certain degree, which I thought was asinine.
Melo be mentoring him.
It would just be another one of those unnecessary situations.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be even more gross than what it is right now because, like I said, Westbrook is a walking conundrum. He constantly reminds us of what a stubborn player could be if you ever played with one.
Nah, you see, all right. You see where I go against you with that. You see, Russell Westbrook problem is not necessarily stubbornness. It's just he never advanced his game, bro. He's literally the same player that he was when he came in the league. He did nothing to advance his game. He didn't add anything to his game.
And you don't think stubborn have something to do with that?
Well, I guess yeah. I guess
Thank
you. Can,
you.
I can see where you're going with that. But that's his problem. And unless you find a team that can utilize his type of gameplay, then that's when he's out the league. And he probably Miami's probably the only team right now that can utilize that type of gameplay. And based on what they do in the off season, they probably won't even need him. Based on what they do in the off season. So Miami's the only team that can use him right now. Because even if he go to the Clippers, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, Paul George may want him, but does Kawhi?
One of the worst things that could happen for Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets financial organization or department is Giannis getting hurt before the All-Star.
Why you
This
say that?
might catapult LaMelo as being an alternate because LaMelo's been having some really, really wonderful games. And now he just won 2 in a row. And the fanfare has been revitalized and galvanized to a certain extent. And he have put on a slew of double doubles and near triple doubles
Yeah,
playing
but can I
against
be?
high level competition.
But
At one time, LaMelo had 14 straight games with 20 or more points.
But you know who's gonna give him a problem with that though? Jalen Brunson.
Yes, I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. But the thing about Jalen Brunson is that the New York Knicks have representation. The Charlotte Hornets doesn't. And LaMelo, even though Charlotte is a dismal franchise and playing abysmal at the bottom of the abyss, LaMelo still brings the agitation of happiness, of fun. And I don't know if Jalen Brunson can compete with him on that level. And that's what the All-Star is all about. It's celebratory.
I agree. But just remember also there might be an extra spot because Embiid ain't playing either.
Oh, see, that's even make it better. So I'm thinking they really contemplating because if there's 2 spots, Jalen Brunson should be there, hands down. You know, there's no Darius Garland to compete with. There's no Fred VanVleet to compete with. The only 2 that you can put there that have big followings, because New York has a big following and LaMelo individually has a big following, is Jalen Brunson and LaMelo Ball. And you can always put LaMelo at a small forward if you want to play him in All-Star game. He doesn't have to play point guard. So there's a separation right there, even though he is listed as a guard.
You just answered my next question. Keep going.
Yeah, even though he is listed as a guard, the coaches and players that help vote with the commissioner can, slide him down as a small forward. They did it for DeRozan, right? DeRozan don't play guard for Chicago, but they inserted DeRozan in the voting ballots as a freaking guard. And he's not even listed as a guard. He's listed as a small forward, a powerful on Chicago's roster.
I'll be honest with you. The 2 of them in the All-Star game is definitely good for entertainment.
Man, I mean, just think about it. Jalen Brunson was an unknown commodity sitting under the blanket of Luka, and he spread his wings, come over to New York with his dad, and got New York back relevant. Now, they gave the credit to Julius Randle, right? More so of a sympathy, apology, overture for they drug his name in the mud from last season. Now they're saying, okay, Julius, we apologize. We're going to give you our vote. And Jalen Brunson suffered from that because we know Jalen Brunson brought a whole new vigor to the New York Knicks. That toughness, that pit bull mentality of Jalen Brunson is what the New York Knicks was missing, especially from the playmaking position. And now they got Josh Hart. Ooh. Julius Randle can act a fool now. Now, RJ Barrett may suffer, but Julius Randle, the left-handed slot machine,
Left-handed
can
bandit.
flourish. Left-handed bandit can flourish because Josh Hart is going to get out there and do the dirty work and be a cover for Julius Randle, as Lonzo Ball was a cover for Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
Amen.
And they became 2 All-Stars.
That's facts you just spoke.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I need to do something on that one. And that's what I'm going to do.
Just spoke. What was that?
Shout out to Zen Master for the graphics.
But Purple Baby did bring up the Bridges situation. What you think they're gonna do with Bridges?
Now, we spoke about that yesterday, and Purple Baby regurgitated some of the points that we made, is that Mitty had came out publicly and finally broke his silence and addressed the situation with Miles Bridges. And what Mitty did was he didn't say anything bad, nor did he say anything good. He took the middle road, and he left the door cracked for the return of Miles Bridges, almost like if he was teasing the fan base that there is a good chance that Miles Bridges can display his opulence as a NBA player in a Charlotte Hornet uniform at the Spectrum Center, maybe next. So there's some iffy with Miles Bridges. There's a lot of work he probably have to do to come back. We mentioned a suspension, as Purple Baby mentioned a suspension, because most likely for Miles Bridges' bad behavior, he probably would get suspended in the opening of 2023-2024 NBA season.
And that's gonna be for how long, you think?
At least 8 to 10 games.
Damn, that's like a month and a half.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm quite sure he would have no qualms with that, because you're going to get another paycheck instead of just being your last paycheck. And this paycheck was only around, what, $9 million? Because Charlotte did not break ties with Miles Bridges. They still have his rights. You know, they didn't waive him or anything to that nature. So the ball is in Charlotte's court. Miles Bridges have really no leverage, but his leverage is gaining momentum as Charlotte is decreasing in the standings, because people are somewhat clamoring for the return of Miles Bridges, because they got spoiled for the 2 seasons that Miles Bridges played with LaMelo Ball when they qualified for a play-in situation. Nevertheless, they did not go any further outside of that, but they still had an opportunity to extend their season 1 game, even though they got clobbered in both of those games.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
So, why you think Charlotte is where they at right now? Is it because of the roster? Or is it because of the coach?
Well, it's a little bit of both, because and listen, I'm not blaming Cliffy no way, shape, or form, because Cliffy gave our boy Yellow Mello the keys. He unequivocated, said Melo's getting the keys. I don't know what you're gonna do with Gordon Hayward, but I'm running with this young man. I'm putting my coaching credentials on the back of this young man, and my legacy is going to be attached to him, hopefully, for a long time, which is a smart move for Cliffy. Now, the reason why I will say coaching, because they went through a so-called coaching carousel when they fired Borrego. They went on the hunt for the next coach. They thought they hired the next coach, and then somehow someone broke the agreement and didn't move forward with the Charlotte Hornets. So they disaligned themselves with the Charlotte Hornets, and that's Mark Atkinson, and went back to the Golden State Warriors, and now we see the Golden State Warriors in the situation that they're in. But
yeah. Go ahead.
Mark might have did the right thing, because I don't know what the conversation was between him and the Charlotte organization to make him back out of a verbal agreement to be their next coach.
All right. I guess. All right. Well, my next question is this, and this is what I'm really trying to get to. Do you think if Borrego was there right now, he would have gotten more out of the team?
No,
You don't think
no,
so?
that was already falling apart. He lost the locker room in the last, I will say, the last 10 games of the season. Um, that didn't sit well with the players nor the front office when Borrego and James Booknight, their prize draft of that season, got into an altercation on the sideline on live TV.
Now I
So
get you.
the players basically decided, okay,
Yeah, but I guess the point that I'm trying to
that was
get
a
to
really
is
breaking point.
you're breaking up a little. I don't know if that's you or me, but if you could hear me, I guess the point I'm trying to
I can
get
hear you.
to is, I mean, okay, cool. But I get what you're saying right there, though. But if you, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Regardless of what they got into, Borrego did get them into the playing last year.
Well, I'm gonna say this right here. A lot of people wants to deal with revisionist history, right? And they have recency bias. Now, when it came to Borrego, he was dead wrong and quite awful when it unless he was pushed. Now, that's the only way I would relieve Borrego from this aspect of his duty, unless he was pushed by the front office to sit LaMelo and sit him behind Devontae Graham, who has become an undersized journeyman in the NBA, while LaMelo has elevated and catapulted to an all-star and possibly a second-time all-star, depending on how they choose their alternate this all-star. And he was playing with LaMelo minutes like if he was playing mind games, as if he was the second coming of Greg Popovich. Because we already know Greg Popovich was a CIA agent. We already know Greg Popovich was a highly decorated military guy. We already know that Greg Popovich loved MK Ultra and used that
Oh
on his
my
foreign.
god!
Listen now, listen. Have you ever heard Stack Jack speak?
Go ahead, talk, man. I'm listening, bro.
Okay, so and we already know he used those techniques on his foreign-based players, and this is why Greg Popovich stayed away from American-born players as superstars. That is, not as role players, but as superstars. David Robinson was his pride and joy, American-based player that he can hang his hat on, who is first ballot Hall of Famer. But David Robinson was already groomed to accept that type of discipline from Greg Popovich because he is a military brat, decorated military Navy officer. So he's already groomed for that kind of discipline, response, and results coming from Greg Popovich techniques of teaching. Popovich have a slew of coaches in the NBA that stems from his tree. And very good coaches, I may add, use some of the same tactics that Greg Popovich used. And some of these coaches have foreign-born based players as their superstars. Interesting.
All right.
But nevertheless, Borrego Charlotte, and Charlotte doesn't have any players like that. Only player they have that was big enough. Everybody else is more American-based players, even to the extent of the Gordon Haywards and the Cody Zellers of the world. They wasn't really buying in with the Borrego tactics. Now, the reason why I can say that is because I seen Charlotte play live, up close, in color, in 3D, sitting one row behind the bench, and I watched everything, and I saw the disassociation of a player named Gordon Hayward, a player named Terry Rozier, a player named Cody Zeller, and who else was? And Miles Bridges. They didn't say one word to Borrego during timeouts. Not one word. The only players that I witnessed speaking to James Borrego was Ish Smith, Cody Martin, LaMelo Ball, and to some extent James Bouknight. Those are the only
All right.
players that really kind of like got into the huddle and showed some interest.
Nah,
Everybody else walked away prematurely, turned their heads, and I was like, "Wow, that's fascinating." He doesn't have the locker room.
now what you're saying is accurate, but I guess the point I'm trying to get to is, and listen, it ain't there, so we can't really see it. But I'm just drawing a comparison to this year, and based on what they accomplished this year compared to last year. So regardless of the tactics, sometimes you can say people got funny tactics, but sometimes the tactics work. You understand what I'm trying to say? Because they did get to the play in last year, is what I'm just trying to get to.
But it
You know,
wasn't more so Borrego because, like I just pointed out to you, Borrego was playing with the future face of the franchise minutes and situation, and he made it known. Um, and this is why I said it could. I give him some benefit of the doubt because it could stem from the hierarchy. Because when LaMelo got drafted, Mitty came out and had a press conference and talked about how he's not going to allow LaMelo's celebrity to overtake the organization and move it faster than what they expected.
okay,
And LaMelo also expedited the winning ways of the Charlotte Hornets because they want to take it a little slow, be a little more methodical in their approach to warming up the fans to higher expectation at their pace. LaMelo's
right.
like, oh man, nah, we ain't finna do that. Him and Miles Bridges like, nah, we ain't finna do that. We finna try to win. We ain't taking our time.
All right. Everything you're saying is accurate, but look at the difference though, right? So he was holding back LaMelo last year. They got to the play in. Steve Clifford gives him the keys this year, and they're 14th. Could you respond to that?
So is it a question or a statement?
It's a little bit of both. You can answer it.
Okay, now this is what happened. Now remember, they was moving forward with Miles Bridges and LaMelo as a tandem,
Mm-hmm.
Airbnb. Now
Mm-hmm.
they had already garnered a moniker, a nickname that
Mm-hmm.
you can put in the neon lights,
Okay.
featuring Airbnb. So that was their devastating duel and tantalizing tandem for the fan base. Miles
Mm-hmm.
Bridges derailed that situation
Okay. That's
with
what I
his
wanted.
bad behavior.
That's the point that I was trying to see if you was gonna get to, because so basically you're saying they're in the position that they're in this year because they don't have Miles Bridges, more so than the fact that it's the coaching.
They don't have Miles Bridges in a coaching character that took place.
All right, that's your opinion. You're allowed to have it. I'll roll with it. I just wanted to see. I was just
Yeah,
trying to
because
see if
Cliffy
you was
wasn't
with
their
me.
first option.
No, I
Cliffy wasn't his
understand that.
first option. And then Dan and Tony removed himself from the negotiation table
Right. So
because
basically,
I don't know if he heard something and he didn't like it. And Dan Tony and Mitty have a relationship. Cliffy and Mitty have a relationship. Matter of fact, Mitty fired Cliffy as the Charlotte Hornets coach in the past. But the thing about
I get
Cliffy
you.
is that he does have talking points that these guys understand. And I'm talking about Mikey, Bud Peterson, Buzz Peterson, and Mitty. They all have a dialect and vernacular that they can relate to outside of James Borrego, who was the first Hispanic player to ever become a head coach in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you my opinion on it. I mean, I feel a little bit. I mean, I can't prove it, but my feelings on the situation is that Borrego, he was a coach that felt like he had something to prove. So I think that energy is what kind of, you know what I'm saying, catapulted them to the position that they were in, even though he was tough. Clifford, he's already known in the league, so he don't really have that much to prove. Like he could just sit back, relax, and just coach a team and get paid. But Borrego had something to prove, and I think that energy that you seen out of Borrego is kind of what got them to where they was at last year. I don't blame it on Miles Bridges too much. I mean, now that we're in the future and we kind of seeing how everything played out, my belief is that I think Borrego would have been a better coach for them. To be honest with you, because of the energy, the fact that he had something to prove, because of the same thing that you just said.
Well, that having something to prove might have gave him some kind of motivation. But at the same time, if you don't have the locker room, man, it's nothing you can prove.
Well, you see, but here's where I'm combating what you're saying with that, though. See, he didn't have the locker room. You understand? And sometimes coaches are like that, bro. Like you don't have look, I need you to get it done. I don't need you to like me. I need you to respect me. I don't need you to like me. And I think he was that type of coach. And when they got on court, it kind of showed. So, and mind you, like I said, he's not there, so I can't prove it. This is just an opinion. I just think that if he was the coach right now, I think based on the roster that they have right now, even without Bridges, he probably would have got the best out of those players because I don't think Cliff is getting
I
the
don't know.
best
I
out of
think they
those
was done
players.
with him. No, I think they was
No,
done
no.
with him. Like I said, I witnessed
Well, it's
up
obvious
close
they
and
done with him
personal.
because,
No, I'm
well,
talking about the players.
oh, you
He
talking
wasn't
about
gonna get nothing out the
no,
players.
no, I don't believe that. And the reason why I don't, and I hear you, don't get it twisted, but the only reason why I don't believe is because you got to go out there and produce regardless. You understand? So we can have problems in the locker room all you want, but you're getting paid millions. You got to go out there and do your job because at the end of the day, that's your job. You
But if you
understand?
under contract,
Go ahead.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte had what? They had 16 players under 16 or 17 players under contract.
Mm-hmm.
That was basically guaranteed. What the coach gonna do? If the upper echelon prize your presence and appreciate whatever performance you got out there, what the coach gonna do? Because it seemed like to me that Mitty was pulling the strings and Mikey was pulling the ultimate strings. He wasn't a hand-off owner like he tried to make himself to be. You feel me?
You talking
He
about
was a
energy?
puppet master.
No, I mean, listen. When it comes to the head office, I'm with you though, 1,000%. You understand? I'm just trying to put it into a level of a perspective right now. What I'm just trying to say is, once we're time has passed and we're in the future and we've seen the results. We're halfway through the season, and they in the 14th position. And what I'm just trying to say is, you said he was the first Hispanic coach to coach in the NBA. So therefore, you have something to prove. You understand? So with that level of energy that you put out towards that team, they may not like you. You understand? But you do have that rigorous mentality. You understand? To look, you don't have to like me, get on the court and get it done. And that mentality got them into the playing, is what I'm trying to say. Now they don't have a coach with that mentality this year. They got one that's a little bit more relaxed. Now Melo may have the keys, you understand, but they ain't 14th place. You understand where I'm going with this? And when it comes, and if you're gonna come with me with the head office, I'm with you 1,000%. If the head office call a shot, they call a shot. But I'm just talking about the results on the floor based on who's the coach. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Right. And see, and this is why I'm blaming more the head office than James Borrego. Remember, I said I'm giving James Borrego the benefit of the doubt. Is
Okay.
because when I saw James Borrego and I tried to talk to him, right? But he was making a beeline because I was trying to grab an interview for Flight Sports TV. He wasn't
Right.
having it, of course. I was trying to get him in Midi. But he was making a beeline to LeVar and Tina. And I
Okay.
try to distract him to get a few words in, at least give us a drop, shout out to Flight Sports TV or whatever, a drop, things of that nature. And he ignored me. And then I said, oh, he's going over to LeVar. So cool, I can get into that circle, right? So I go over to LeVar, and LeVar waved me off. Like, no, not right now. And
Right.
I noticed when LeVar stood up, he had guys in white polo shirts that I had never seen before and had the logo NBA where you would see the jockey and the horse. but it was NBA. So these was official NBA employees surrounding LeVar as like bodyguard. I'm talking these some yoke white boys. There wasn't no scrawny looking people. So I said, oh fuck, there's some bodyguards. Follow what I'm saying? But they dressed in polo type shirts, so they won't, you know, be so they could be very what word I want to use, incognito. And so he shooed me away, and so I just sit there and watch the circus because that's what it ultimately became. At the moment, I didn't think that. I was like, oh my God, this is a glorious moment. This is historical. James Borrego and the Ball brothers' parents, and they was and James Borrego was congratulating LeVar and sat down with Tina for a little while LeVar went off to some other area. But he was talking with LeVar, and I was trying to steal a hearing, right? But I couldn't really hear what they said because there was so much noise in the arena. But it seemed like he was congratulating the ball because there was a lot of handshakes and patting on the backs and smiles and things of that nature. Because Jello just had a wonderful game in the summer league. That's when he exploded for those 22 some odd points in his debut. And Borrego was congratulating LeVar for allowing Jello to come up and hang out with his brother LaMelo and not keeping him at the mansion or at the estate. And then after that, LeVar, like I said, LeVar went a little distance from that, you know, with the cameras and interview and all that stuff. And then Borrego sat down with Tina for about 10, 13 minutes. I mean, just talking. And Borrego's doing all of the talking, and, you know, and Tina was just shaking her head like, like, thank you, I appreciate it. You know, one of those type of things, you know, complimenting James Borrego on showing appreciation for her son and giving him that opportunity to play. And not only to play, to shine. And not only to shine, but to be celebrated for ESPN and NBA TV as they all clamored about LiAngelo's performance, because that was the first time we saw LiAngelo on a hardwood floor, parquet floor, in about nearly 18 months. So when all that was over with, James Borrego received an extension, a 4-year extension. And I'm thinking this all ties. LeVar had told me about him sending the Charlotte Hornets a free gift in LiAngelo Ball. So I'm like, damn, LeVar was right. You know what I'm saying? He gets an extension. LiAngelo is there, and he puts on a show of shows, and the summer league is wilding out. I'm talking about it was jam-packed where the fire department stopped allowing people to get into the arena. They shut down the doors. No more. It's a safety hazard. That's how much fanfare was surrounding LiAngelo. So he gets to the extension. LiAngelo gets celebrated. So I'm saying, damn, LeVar put something in motion like crazy. They get LiAngelo for free. He don't even go through the regular channels or the proper portal like everybody else, and that's on that summer league team. And now LiAngelo has elevated his celebrity past the first round pick, which in Book Knight and Kai Jones. Well, Kai Jones was a trade, but he still was a first rounder. Now, here comes the skullduggery. LiAngelo don't even play the second game. How did that happen, right? I mean, his ticks was like small. I'm talking about quick, essential small. And now it's like, man, this is not right. And now I start feeling it's some BS in the woods. And we know bullshit ain't nothing but chewed up grass. So when all was said and done, we start seeing strings being pulled from up high, because what coach, and this was third camp, first season, I believe, coaching the Greensboro Storm, if I'm not mistaken. And if it wasn't his debut, after seeing that firestorm of fans celebrating a summer league team in that situation, it was similar to what Lonzo brought when he came in as a Laker. So now LeVar got two sons that participated in summer league that became hysteria and pandemonium while they was on the court. Now the bull crap comes in. We see right now from that day the situation with Angelo. So the bull crap goes all the way up to LaMelo, because remember now, the season ain't started yet for this season. For that season. Now LaMelo was coming off of a disappointing performance against Indiana in the play-in game the previous year. And he started off the next year, his sophomore year, his all-star year, minutes being played with. From being a rookie of the year, for being the breakout athlete of the year, not breakout basketball player, but breakout athlete of the year, coming into his sophomore year with the bullcrap, playing with the man minutes. Now, mind you, Devontae Graham is gone. They little North Carolina pride and joy is gone. So what is the reason for them to play with his minutes unless they're trying to elevate Gordon Hayward politically? And LaMelo overcame that and still became an all-star. And when he became an all-star, that into the realms of max rookie extension.
So, could I ask you a question though? If that's the way you view it, then what is the difference between last year and this year besides a different coach? Why is it that they're not doing the same thing this year?
Miles Bridges. And then you know what? Let me also say this. The momentum of last season in the disappointing finish when they lost to the Trae Young and Atlanta Hawks in the play-in game, that they thought they was going to win because they had Atlanta Hawks number for that season. They thought they was going to win, even though they came in as underdogs. They wasn't afraid of playing the Atlanta Hawks, of all teams they could have faced in a play-in situation. Atlanta wasn't one of the teams that they was afraid of. Cleveland was a different monster. But Atlanta, you have more than a puncher's chance to beat that team. And it didn't turn out the way they wanted to. So when they entered this season, the preseason was dismal. Did they win a game in preseason? If they did, it won probably one game in all the preseason. So it started out rocky. And then LaMelo gets hurt in preseason. He doesn't start the season off with Charlotte and miss a toll of games. So Gordon Hayward, you know what I'm saying? Terry Rozier was a little banged up. Kelly Oubre, he was their Rock of Gibraltar until he gets injured. So the Charlotte Hornets faced a slew of injuries at bad time, so they couldn't get no continuity. So the momentum of coming into the season trying to prove something was dampered and hampered from LaMelo injury, absence of Miles Bridges, Gordon Hayward slow start, Cody Martin not playing the first 20 games or so, who's supposed to be their defensive rock. This is what they're thinking. Of course, he's not that, but they thinking this is what they're coming into the season with. And they end up getting plummeted through the preseason, and that momentum carried over into the beginning of the season, where you had Dennis Smith Jr. had to start unexpectedly due to the absence of LaMelo, and they playing a lot of their G League players, but yet they didn't play LiAngelo. They had to bring up some G League players to fill the roster while they open up the season, while some of their key players were injured. And so that gave them a slow start. They just never recovered.
All right, I get everything that you're saying. I mean, you understand the way I'm trying to go with what I'm asking, though, right?
Yeah, basically you're saying, if I'm not mistaken, well, no, you say what you said. I don't want to speak for you.
Nah,
Speak for
well,
yourself.
I mean, couple things I'm gonna say is a repeat, but I guess where I'm trying to go with it is I'm looking at it based on where we at right now, looking back, and then looking at the results. Now, I guess you're saying that basically the head office could have been calling shots as to holding LaMelo back and pushing Gordon Hayward forward, and I hear you on that. Now, with that being said, that's happening, and they made it to the play-in, like you said, against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this year comes, and Clifford is there. LaMelo gets the keys. Hayward takes a step back, and they're 14th. So I guess where I'm trying to go with it is, was it really the head office, or was it really just the way Borrego was actually coaching? And with that being said, and then you could go after this. With that being said, being that the way Borrego was coaching, he actually got better results out of the team compared to, and let's say it's Borrego that was holding LaMelo back. Let's say it's Borrego that was pushing Hayward forward. They got better results compared to this year, which you have Clifford, and he's pushing LaMelo forward, and he's, I'm assuming, gonna hold it. He's the one holding Hayward back. Now, I'm not saying that's what it is. You understand? But I'm just using your analogy and I'm running with it. So, with that being said, now that we're looking at the situation right now, they in 14th place this year and they made it to the play-in last year. So, I'm going based on results. So, what I'm trying to say is, if you look at it from my angle, from what I'm trying to say, I'm saying that it was the coach. I'm going against what you're saying. You're saying it was the head office. I'm just saying it was the coach the whole time. Now that we some time has passed and we're standing where we're standing right now, I'm looking back at it and I'm thinking that the head office wasn't calling no shots. They were just letting Borrego coach, and basically Borrego chose to coach the way that he wanted to.
Yeah, we about to get up out of here. We're gonna pull back up tomorrow.
All right, no doubt, Flight.
Shout out my man Ted. Shout out All Access. Salute to the chat. Peace and love.
Flight Sports TV, man. That's my dude. I rolls with him.
You heard what the man said. It's Flight Sports TV.